Welcome to Wrestling on the Rocks. Welcome to the Single Malt Studios. We did it. We're here. We all made it. We got Kevlar.
First episode.
What?
Yes, that's me.
Oh man.
I said first episode. Here we go.
This is how we get through it. I'm at Ref Marsh. Kevlar, go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm at Kevlar on the Rocks with an X. Like a Drew McIntyre sword thing.
Oh yeah, it is like the Drew McIntyre sword thing. And go ahead and introduce yourself, Clump.
My name's Clump.
Boom. Like I said, we all made it. We're all here. If you're watching live, slick, right? If you're listening, what do you mean slick? So, Kevlar, what's in your glass?
Right now I'm going to be pouring a Budweiser Nitro Reserve Gold.
That's a lot of words to say beer.
No, that's a lot of words to say water.
No, it's a different type of Bud, man. I didn't even mean it that way. It's a different type of Budweiser. Yeah, let me know. Have you had that one yet before, Kevlar?
Yeah. Yes, I have.
Yeah. How is it?
See, it's got like a little waterfall. Yeah. It's alright. It's kind of tastes flat because it doesn't have much carbonation.
All right.
But you said it has like nitro in it. Doesn't that make it more carbonated-y?
No.
Kind of.
Nitro doesn't mean carbonation necessarily. No. Matter of fact, if you get like a nitro coffee, it's actually really smooth and not bubbly at all. It's just really strong. It's almost like a thicker kind of coffee.
Well, that's what I said.
It's like the Bronson Reed of coffees.
It's a nitro. Nitro. It's like WCW. Just comes a little flat.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm having Teton Moonshine, the gift that Clump gave me that keeps on giving.
How has that lasted this long with your ability to drink?
Well, because there was that one episode I had like half of it, so then it got put in the back shelf for a while.
A constant rotation.
Yeah, constant rotation. That's the trick, man. Just like WWE, we got to draft every few months or so.
We're not allowed
what do they call it now? It's not the wild card rule. It's the brand invitational. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Clump, what's in your glass?
I have a bottle of sparkling water. Because of my schedule, I was not able to get coffee in any way, which is kind of upsetting me. I have not had coffee in 2 days.
Even when you have coffee, you yawn and get real sleepy. So,
yeah.
Let's see what happens. Let's see what your narcoleptic ass starts doing.
Yeah. And that was Clump, ladies and gentlemen. I'll see you next week.
Yeah, he's like, that's about all I got.
I'm gonna head on out, guys. I'm getting sleepy.
Clump's got a tan. You're looking good, Clump. Oh, we're not gonna be able to fix that.
It's probably because I dyed my beard again, so it's like weird in the lights out.
Yeah. Sure. Your beard is also tanned, and the dungeon you're in is not a factor.
Yeah.
Awesome. Guys, we're doing it. We're here. Anyone who's listening, we've added a Wednesday night chaser on Thursday nights. It goes live on podcasts. Obviously, that would be Friday morning. So we're going to be splitting it up a little bit. So this week on Tuesdays and moving forward, if everything keeps going as well as it has been, we're going to be talking about Raw and SmackDown and any WWE pay-per-views that happen over the weekend, which were none this weekend. So that was a little nice.
Yeah.
They've been really hitting us hard with those pay-per-views every week, it feels like. But don't fear, week after next, we got another one coming right up. So, Clump, did you watch Raw and SmackDown?
I did watch Raw and I watched some of SmackDown.
All right, that sounds good. And then Kevlar, were you able to get mostly caught up?
I didn't watch any of it.
Yeah, I'm just here for the drinks.
Yeah, just here to drink and listen to you guys.
I was about to get pissed.
Yeah, I was like, I just want to say, I want to say the opposite of everything you guys say tonight. I felt like I was going to drink and try and see how long till I piss one of you off. He goes, sounds like Clump's already tired, so I got a leg up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Give about 5 minutes.
Yeah, yeah. Clump's like, that's it.
I'm going to bed. Fuck y'all.
I'm not even sure why Clump started crying. I think it was bullshit, man.
Yeah.
Let's see. As far as news goes, guys, I didn't see a whole lot in the news, so I got a couple of things I was going to touch on. If either of you have something you thought was newsworthy and wanted to talk about, definitely bring it up. So I'm just going to say the two things that were kind of minor. One of them was Ronda and Teal Piper both posted on their Instagram pictures of them training together in the ring. It wasn't like actively them in wrestling holds, but it was them in the ring with other people, and they were talking about how good it feels to be in the ring again because Teal Piper's back from an injury. But I don't think she's signed with anybody. The last time I think we saw her was Double or Nothing last year, the year before, the first Double or Nothing in the Battle Royal. So I don't know. I don't know what that means exactly. I do think it's interesting that Ronda's back in the ring. I do think that if Teal Piper's looking at potentially getting a good deal, the idea of her working with Ronda, especially if Ronda doesn't see herself long-term WWE, what if Ronda teaches her the Piper's Pit? You know what I mean? That could be cool.
That was actually my first thought.
Very.
Yeah.
Or that they'd be a pretty kick-ass team.
They could be a good tag team, bring some tag team division action coming through.
I think I saw that too, and it got me excited now. I assume that, I mean, to me, this might be overreading into it. I would like to see Teal Piper in WWE more than anywhere else. Just because I think, I mean, just the history of it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think of it that way. It's like, yeah, you gotta be there. And Ronda ain't going anywhere else. Also, in that picture, did you see who was working with him training? JTG. From Crime Time.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's
The one
right.
that's alive.
Yeah, use the other one. Yeah.
I'm glad you had to
Accurate.
swear.
Why do you have to put it like that? Like, come on, man.
Why are you yelling at me? I'm not wrong.
I mean, he actually nailed that one. He's been pretty off on the news in the past, so
Oh,
I have a hard time ridiculing him for that one. Remember when he convinced us someone was dead and they weren't? It was the person's mom.
You just have to stop setting us up in some cryptic way, though.
Yeah. So I would say this is probably the best version of Clump.
Yeah. No coffee clump.
No coffee,
Yeah.
kind of a headache.
This is coffee-free Clump.
Oh, God.
But
think we
so
figured
there
it
was
out.
that. I do think it's really cool, the idea of potentially seeing a Ronda return, or even the idea that she just maybe really misses working out in the ring a little bit and is helping Teal Piper train. Just cool. So I don't know if it's going anywhere or not. I don't know if it means anything. It could mean absolutely nothing. Like you said, I'd like to see her in NXT, I think. But at the same time, no, I think it's like she's in NXT. I was trying to think. I mean, I feel like her name value could be helpful to AEW, but I also don't feel like they've done much with any name value as it is. So I think that she should be around the best in the world, and that's NXT, if you're talking women's divisions.
Yeah, for women's division, I think NXT, I think NXT and WWE would be better. And I'm saying that as the AEW fan. You know, I think I'd like her there more.
Yeah.
I think
100%.
AEW needs to really step up their women's division. They're doing better, but they were doing so much worse.
Yeah, and Jericho said in an off comment that he was pretty certain AEW signed Serena Deeb. Only neither Serena Deeb nor AEW have said that. So I don't know if it's just what he thinks, or if that means there's a sign of things to come. But also, if AEW does snag up Serena, what an addition that would be.
Who's Serena Deeb?
Did you watch the Thunder Rosa match on AEW Dynamite the last 2 weeks?
All Out.
Yeah, the All Out was Sheeta.
That's right.
Oh.
Oh my God, he hasn't watched. So
No, I'm
Serena
learning.
Deeb, she was one of the main trainers at the Performance Center, as well as she was part of the CM Punk. She was the one who shaved her head.
Oh, shit, her.
Yeah, yeah. And so her and Thunder Rosa had a really good match on Dynamite that, like, even while JR is calling it, he goes, this may be the single best wrestling match we've seen in the women's division in the history of AEW.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, it was so good. You're like, get him, JR.
Of course, because they're not officially with the company.
Yeah, no, it's like, neither of them signed to the company, so, yeah, I guess it makes sense. Was there any other news that either of you guys wanted to bring up?
Oh, JR Lunar said Straight Edge Society.
Straight Edge Society. What's up, GR Lunar? Cheers. No one's going to cheers them but me. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know where Kevlar is.
Yeah, I think we lost Kevin.
Kev, you there?
But
He's frozen. He's got a fuzzy.
Yeah, but sometimes his video cuts, but we can still hear him.
yeah.
Kev, are you there?
Yeah, he messaged out like we might have some technical difficulties here. Let's see.
Interesting. Interesting.
Oh, he went away.
He dropped out. He'll be back.
Okay, cool.
He'll be back.
Aside from that, I mean, we heard a lot from now Miro about how they feel about AEW, which that's great. Glad that they're at AEW and happy. That's always good, you know?
Miro?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna knock them. Like, I'm not gonna knock them for feeling upset, and also I'm not gonna knock them too much about. They said that their journey with WWE was difficult, and they went into that a fair amount, but they also didn't go and just bury the shit out of it as much as other people have, which I think is fair, you know. It felt to me more like I'm expressing my frustration, but it didn't go into say fuck everything here, you know.
Yeah, I think that we could get more into that on Thursday's show when we go over AEW and NXT stuff.
Cool.
But I agree. He did a couple of interviews that I think are worth noting, and I think there's a few things that'll be really interesting to talk about as far as that goes. What Jericho said, what Miro said actually about Jericho helping him with his promo and stuff. So I'm really excited to get into that with you on Thursday if that's gonna
Right on.
that
Yeah.
comes up. The only other thing I had news-wise is actually kind of builds into SmackDown or Raw, if you will, but it was just really just that Mandy Rose was moved to Raw, and it seemed rather sudden. It happened Talking Smack. Is Kev back?
No, he's gone.
I think his headphones are doing something.
Thanks for bearing with us.
But yeah,
Producer here,
Mandy Rose.
off camera.
Yeah. So in Talking Smack, Miz went ahead and made the announcement that he pulled some strings and got Mandy Rose moved, and now Otis won't be distracted, he says, and now Mandy's on Monday Night Raw. And they were playing it up on social media a lot, like Miz is really stepping out of line and using his pole, and it just seems really weird to me. The whole thing seems weird. I don't understand how this... I don't see where this goes other than them trying to get the briefcase off Otis.
And that seems weird to utilize that talent to do it. I feel, I mean, is it because Raw needs more women's talent? Because I could see that argument being made.
I was
but
thinking
then
that.
do that in a different way. Like, to me, I think that's just a weak way of doing it. And then, I mean, if that... There's a lot of ways to bring heat to Otis because we've not seen him in months. They literally just put this on him and he's barely been there. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you could just have Miz do some other-handed shady shit. I think they're going to keep trying to play up the love angle because that is something that, you know, gets people invested in. It's a different type of love angle, but it's still just, I mean, it's meh.
I mean, honestly, it's been working though. I've been pretty critical of it from the beginning, of not being so sure about it. But every time they make a big move with it, it's usually like done really well. It's usually pretty solid and entertaining. And I always kind of look back and go, "Oh, maybe I'm wrong on this one." They're not fucking it up, you know.
I mean, it's certainly like leaps and bounds, just infinitely better than what we were seeing with like Rusev and Lana or Lashley and Lana. Like
For the
I'm done with
Bennetts.
that. Yeah, or the Bennetts. So I'm cool with that. It's just,
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like this is a very weird way to do this.
It does seem really weird. But to me, so let's do this. If this is all a plot to get Mandy Rose onto Raw, because they need a women's division that's stronger. I would think that. I mean, guess maybe that's just where you go with that. But as far as Otis and the briefcase, he's had nothing but matches with Miz and Morrison. So obviously they're trying to get the briefcase onto Miz and Morrison. To me, best case scenario, it ends up on Morrison, right? It's the only way Morrison can break away from Miz.
I think Morrison needs it more than Miz, like hands down. Morrison's been very weak back in WWE. You know, it's just been he's been very much underutilized, and you know, to the point of kind of forgetting his place.
Yeah. Like he leaves the company, goes and proves he's a main event guy, holds world titles all over the world, and then comes back to pick up exactly where he left off 8 years ago. And it is such a shame. It's all like, hey, and it even seemed rewound. It was almost like it's not exactly where you left off. It's kind of like before where you left off, like when you guys were struggling. Kevlar, we're talking about Mandy Rose being moved to Raw, and we think that might be a utility to get the briefcase off of Otis.
I didn't know Mandy Rose got moved to Raw. Missed it.
God damn it.
Did you watch?
I'll give him this. It happened on Talking Smack, and they only had one little segment on Raw. They had one commercial about it. She didn't even show up on Raw.
Oh, really?
How's that? You had a loser leaves WWE match, and the winner hasn't been seen since then.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I think we've seen more pictures of Sonya on Instagram since, and we've seen absolutely nothing of Mandy since. Who won?
Right?
I don't know. But that was it as far as I had for like news stuff. Kev, if they are utilizing this to take the briefcase off of Otis and onto Miz, I said I'd prefer to see it go onto Morrison. What do you think?
I'd prefer Morrison, hands down. I've always liked him. You know, I think he's truthfully got more charisma than Miz. Maybe not.
Shock. Oh.
Well, I think he's got a different, like, I like Miz's heel heat. I like Miz being a fucking heel. I think Miz is a character that's kind of worked out to where they are, and you don't really need to keep elevating him to that role. You don't need to bring him to the main event picture anymore. Morrison, yeah, you truly do, because if I were a talent outside of the WWE, considering going back in right now and looking at this, like somebody saying, yeah, you can go in and, you know, you see what they did with like AJ Styles, you know, what they've done with MVP, and then you could say, yeah, but look at John Morrison.
Yeah, literally didn't get new music. When are you going to rebrand this guy if not 8 years later? You know what I mean?
And
if you have a movie,
so tiring.
If you have a movie that has a fade out to black and then says 6 months later and comes back, the person's got a beard now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? This guy's looks nothing. He doesn't look any different. He's got the same music, the same entrance, the same Titantron, everything the same.
I'm still waiting for them to come out, and when it's doing the slow-mo, just have Morrison and, you know, like I said, somebody in the ring just look at him like, yo, what the hell are you guys doing?
Mm-hmm.
Just have someone walk by them while they're in slow motion.
Yeah, exactly.
I think
Selena just walks by.
I think that's happened though, where they've had them come out with that kind of combo entrance with somebody else, and they kind of just like walked by halfway, and then like, oh shit, I have to like act like this. I swear that's happened this year. Yeah.
Love it.
This is why we drink, because it probably did.
So how do you guys think they would get the briefcase off of Otis?
The theory is because it's such a heavy, Miz moved Mandy to stop distracting Otis, that the theory being that Miz, because he has all the pull, would tell Otis, if you put your briefcase on the line, I'll bring Mandy back.
Okay.
And then they cheat, take the title, or take the briefcase, and then Mandy's back, and now you got Mandy and Otis doing who knows what, and you've got Miz and Morrison with a briefcase.
I don't know how the argument even makes sense. Like, I mean, I get it. It's just being a bully and like, yeah, I'll make sure you're not distracted. But I just keep going back to, we literally haven't seen your ass on air in months. Like,
yeah.
And you're doing better than Tucky.
The other thing is, yeah, she's not as distracting as Tucky. Also, we haven't seen her even around him in weeks. Every time
Yeah.
we see him, he's not anywhere near her. So it's like, I don't know where he even gets the storyline of that he's distracting.
It just... This is where I'm critical of WWE. When storylines just generally don't make sense. Now, it doesn't do much better in AEW, but at least they're trying something kind of different. This is just lazy. This, to me, just feels lazy, you know? It feels like...
It feels a little bit rushed and a little bit second guessing. We don't want Otis to have the briefcase anymore. We don't like this anymore. How do we get out of it? I don't know. Just have Miz do something tricky. It does feel lazy. Let's get into SmackDown.
Yeah. Go.
Just because we're already kind of in SmackDown.
I thought that was a perfect transition. I thought we were there.
Yeah. Well, thank you. So, did either of you write down any notes of just things you wanted to make sure you talk about?
No.
No? Good. Clump?
I do want to talk about just Roman and Jay. I like this a lot. So I have a couple notes there.
Cool. I didn't have that written down, so let's go ahead and we'll just start with that. What are you thinking?
I'm overall really happy with it. Just to start, I like Roman as a heel. I like that segment, and I kind of like how Paul Heyman threw out not just that. Yeah, you got the opportunity, but it was like a great thing from Roman to give it to you. Like, it's really pushing down on Jay, and I think it's a great space for him to step up. Even if he doesn't win the match, it's a great way to make him. He's not going to win, but make him more of a singles competitor. Like, oh shit, look at this. You know, he did this. He can take it to Roman for a bit. I'd like that.
I'll tell you this: if Jey Uso does win it, I'm gonna be crying like a baby, dude. What?
I said that'd be so great. I would love for Jay to surprise
Yeah.
everyone and win it.
Me too.
I think it would be amazing. And then you could even have Roman be super pissed and get it back at the next one or something. I don't even care if he doesn't hold it forever or anything like that. But the idea of strictly a tag team guy who's never even had an opportunity in a singles match that even revolved around a title at all. The fact that he's only been in singles matches against other tag teams, I think there's a lot here. And I do really like this story and feel like there's definitely a personal nature to it. I think that even when, I feel like at the end, Roman was cracking a smile because he just couldn't believe how cool this was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I do
I like
think
that.
that if Jay did get the win, it would feel like a huge, huge moment if he could do this. You know what I mean?
I can get that. I don't think they'll do it, but I agree. I'd love to see it. I just can't get beyond they ain't fucking doing that part of my brain.
It is weird because I really thought they were going to try and team them all up, put the bloodline back together.
Yeah, I agree. But I'm
And
okay with this.
They still can.
Yeah.
Down the road. I think the other thing
Yeah.
too with this, it helps really cement Roman as a heel, because what if you've been the babyface for the company for so long? We established, in WWE that family is this huge important thing. What's a bigger heel move than fucking over family? And that would be
beating up your
amazing because and I don't think Roman's gonna win it clean if he wins it. I think there's gonna be something sketchy, I mean, more or
Well,
less
hold
the
on.
way he go ahead.
He's got to sell those show up and win shirts. He's not even going to show up to the end of the match.
Yeah.
He's gonna be fighting himself.
How about this? This is purely the most wild speculation. What if at Clash of Champions, Jacob Fatu comes out?
That'd be amazing. I would love that, to see them bring in the rest of the family.
Bring in more of the family. Ooh. Ooh. You have Jacob Fatu in there just beating the shit out of Jay, and then Roman just comes in and pats him on the back and then spears him, just shows up and wins. Which, by the way, how fucking good is that, dude? How good is it? How easy is it to make people hate you when you're the guy they've been pushing forever? You're the guy we always complained didn't have enough moves, always got beat up, and then just at the end all of a sudden would win a match. How amazing in this one. He literally just sits out, comes in, does one move, gets the 1, 2, 3, and leaves. Like, oh, it's so easy to hate.
It's not even. It's still him coming at the end of the match. It's just, yeah, I got rid of the part where I got my ass beat. I'll just have other people deal with it for me.
Yeah, it is amazing. I think, oh, so easy to hate. Show up and win, so brilliant. GR Lunar in the chat saying, wait, what? Believes Jacobs Fatu is still signed with MLW. I don't care. Don't care. It's not my contract to break. That's up to him.
Yeah.
It should be
Make
like
it work.
It should be like European soccer where they can just players off for assets or money, and
Yeah.
he's over with us now.
Look, bottom line,
This is ours
Jacob,
now.
do you want to make moves or do you want to be on another show? You know what I mean? Like, you could make the news now, or you could just stay in that other show and get beat up by Hammerstone. It's up to you, man. Up to you.
Go Hammerstone.
Arizona Peach coming through. Cheers, Arizona Peach says it'd be interesting and a good interesting.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree. That was just me getting all like chills and fantasy booking about how perfect can this Roman thing go. And I think Roman and Paul Heyman together are incredible. I think that the way that Roman's playing up his character right now, and like, how can I really lean into all the things that people didn't like about me when half were cheering and half were hating me, and I think it's gonna make him. It's just so perfect. It's so perfectly done. GR Lunar says have Rikishi come in and turn on his kid and say he did it for The Rock. Then have The Rock come out and say I did it for the kid. Just go back and forth, man.
I was thinking Jimmy shows up.
I don't think The Rock's gonna come out and hold up Roman's hand for a while.
Yeah, he doesn't want
That
that
didn't
heat.
go well.
I think that it's okay, a little heavy on that one. This is going to be an interesting next 20 minutes. I do think that Jimmy is not done healing, but that also could just be getting worked. I feel like they posted a picture just the other day of him in his knee brace and stuff, and that could just be, exactly what they want me to think. Oh my God, this is going to be.
You're gonna have a fun time.
It's going to be a fun time.
Good God.
Lunar's about to be slurring. Anything else you want to say about Roman specifically in the Bloodline? There is a Talking Smack interview with Jey Uso that is phenomenal. I've been really liking the Talking Smack stuff more than I thought I would. Kayla Braxton does an awesome job on there. She's partnered up with Xavier Woods. Such a cool team.
That's a
But
good
Jey
mix.
Uso goes out there and he talks about how much it means to him to be in a singles match in general and to be even doing stuff with his cousin. And he takes it. He doesn't go too far into out of the kayfabe, but he does kind of let you get a little bit behind the curtain as well, as far as like their personal life goes and stuff. So really cool. He was even saying, he's like, if we have a barbecue, I might not make him a plate. So funny.
I mean, to me, like, I think that's the big, like, my big part of it was just like, I think this is awesome. I want to see them keep building this. I'm happy it wasn't just 1 week and keeps going.
I thought it felt super rushed, and now I feel like it's developing so well that it's all like, oh wait, no, it was just sudden. It wasn't rushed. There's a difference. What did the producer say?
We'll see.
Part of me almost wants Tamina to get in on this, just to have more family.
I got no problems with that.
Like if, whoa,
It's good. Keep going.
okay, that was a bad swig.
No, all good. Good swig.
I don't even know if I would make Tamina a face. Like, I kind of wouldn't mind if she was with Roman. I think that'd be really cool.
Roman's a heel. What were you about to say, Kev?
Am I the only one that thinks that this feels like it's Big E's spot?
No. This is how you keep Big E from being tossed aside too early. This is how you build and solidify that Roman is back, he's bad, and he's a threat. And then, on the other side of the show, you have Big E, the most triumphant power of positivity, big, bad dude, working his way towards solidifying his own legacy. And suddenly Roman's in the way of that. And Roman's on the top of the mountain saying, no, y'all don't remember, this is my yard. He squats, takes a shit right there on stage, says, see, my yard.
He pisses
And then
on
Big
the
E
turnbuckle.
goes, I'll make that into a pancake. I'll make mud pie right now. You know what I mean?
I'll clap them cheeks.
He lays down and does his little mat angel.
Yeah. But I do think that this is building a villain, and while we're building a baby face and Big E, so we could have a huge clash of Roman and Big E. I think you stretch this out well enough, and you have them be dominant enough on their own side of things, you could stretch it out to Mania. I think that's a lot of months out, but I think you could do it. You could have a big old clash at Mania.
I agree with that. I think I don't know if I want a Mania triple threat match, but I definitely should. Maybe like you long game build up E and then have E win the Royal Rumble. Have E go for the other title. Just do something else.
Switch it up a little bit. I do think right now everyone expects Big E to win the Rumble and Sasha Banks to win the Rumble. I do think that's the big predictions right now.
The big ending.
Yeah.
What do you guys... Clump. God.
Big beginning.
Yeah.
Also, side note, he needs a new finisher because I hate the big ending.
I thought, here's the other thing we noticed. I thought that more than ever, he's sticking the big ending and making it look mean, where before I thought that it didn't look like all that much. But I feel like the last few times he's done it on like Sheamus, it's been like, oh!
I mean, I always look at it, I'm like, that looked like it hurt the person doing it more. Because it's just like, I'm going to pull you down on me.
Remember how confusing the End of Days was for you and me, Kev?
Yeah.
We watched it like 11 times in a row being like, how is he hurting who? Like,
It kind of reminds me of, what was that dude? Canyon in WCW?
Yeah.
There was like the reverse rock bottom.
oh, yeah.
And it was like, you're hurting yourself. Like, how are you winning on this? Or it was Mortis then, right?
Yeah.
He was Mortis? Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Did you guys ever see when Byron Saxton was in NXT, his finisher?
I didn't see what his finish was. I watched one of his matches recently, though, because I was really curious about it.
It was his finish, and even in one match, the commentators are like, that's okay. Like they're like confused because it looked like a mix between a go to sleep and like a death elegy. Like he couldn't decide and knew way through. He was like, "Fuck it, we're doing it this way," and then he kind of did it that way from then on. It was like a bad version of Drew fucking up doing a drop kick.
Nice.
That's awesome. The guy's just like laying down. He does a cartwheel over him and then just pins him. What was that?
What is that? That's my move.
Yeah, his hand was on his chest, dude. Like a lot of pressure.
Poke of Doom. Poke of Doom.
Speaking of Roman and Paul Heyman, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Wobbly Walrus. What do you guys think about Wobbly Walrus?
I love
it. I love it.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
don't start on the
What
clown.
the hell?
Love it. Oh,
Can I grab like a Coke or a soda or something?
We're like
I've never
a half
been
hour
more excited in my
Club.
life.
Oh my god, I'm sorry.
We are a half
Love
hour in, and it is pretty early here in our time zone.
well, in Clump's defense, he's stayed awake through all of our episodes. The same cannot be said.
Barely.
Oh.
You know what?
That
I'm
was
not.
great.
I'm not in the conversation, so.
All of a sudden?
Wow. Okay. All right. You can play that game.
Well, producer here, you seem quite tired.
It's better than you farting it up.
It's not.
It is.
It's not. The ratings tell us otherwise.
Today
The ratings.
We got a
I checked
hole
the
on
quarter
person when he
hours.
farted. Shits himself, we get a hole too.
Yeah.
solid.
See how the ratings double when I shit my pants, dude? Ratings
A
spiked.
solid 2, Kevin. Great. That's fucking fantastic. A solid.
Awful.
We got a real mushy too. Oh god.
Oh, you gotta get that shit solid.
Hell yeah.
Fiber.
What? So, Clump, you love Wobbly Walrus?
I do. It makes me think of me as a Muppet.
All right.
That's sad.
The one thing, before I kick it back over to Kevlar, the one thing that because a lot of people have said not a lot about it, other than it seems weird or they think it's funny, and I liked it. But the one thing that did make me laugh, Jim Cornette on his podcast says, "How the fuck are you going to put a walrus in there and not call him Paulrus?" Paul Heyman.
God damn it!
And he was pissed. He was like yelling about how much he hated the thing, and he goes, "And to make it all worse, how are you going to make a Paul Heyman puppet and not call him Paulrus?" He's like, "What kind of bullshit is that?" And I was like, "This is awesome. This is the shit that should get Cornette riled up."
This
Cornette
is
riled
fair.
up. Yeah, you're like, not only are you right, Cornette, but I'm so glad it's brought up your blood pressure of all the things. Because when I saw every time someone puts in a question where they ask him about what he thinks of different Funhouse things, I'm like, don't ask him that. You know he hates it. What are you? Why bother? And then I heard that one, and I was like, oh, because we're hoping it really makes him mad. Kevlar, tell me what you thought of the segment and such. Clump, if you want to run and grab a soda, that would be the time.
Oh yeah.
And break.
Kev, I threw it to you.
Yes. So, when I first saw the walrus, I thought it looked like Penguin from Batman.
Yes, it did look a lot like Penguin.
Is
that
loved it? Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was funny. Here's the other thing though. They've been teasing all this stuff with Alexa Bliss.
Mm-hmm.
He said he was bringing in a new friend, but then, oh wait, that's right. He had the parrot that got eaten.
Yeah.
So the parrot died.
It suffocated.
It suffocated his parrot, and that's when Evil Vince comes in and says, "Here's your new character. It's Wobbly Walrus, your advisor."
Yeah.
I thought it was really funny and really well done. It's just a little bit of a bummer because I feel like we've been sort of teasing that we might get another person in there, which I'm excited about. But at the same time, maybe it is a little premature because I'll say this as we get Clump back in.
Oh my God.
I'll say
that
this.
was not
Oh,
subtle.
come on. I'll say this. As much as I was hoping and excited about Alexa Bliss being brought into the Funhouse and slightly disappointed we got a walrus instead, I still liked it. It still made me laugh. I still want to see more of it. But Alexa Bliss in her Fatal 4-Way match did the Sister Abigail to Nikki Cross and then walked off staring out into nothingness for a long time. I think that this could be done really well by actually keeping Alexa away from Fiend. Now you have someone who's been attacked by Fiend and has changed, but in her realm, she's changed into being infatuated and obsessed with her aggressor, as it were. This, to me, because now we have Nikki starting to show guilt towards Alexa being weird now, I think that you have Alexa fully turn and go nuts, and you have her bring Nikki to, as it were, the Church of the Fiend. You know what I mean? Come obsess over this person I'm obsessed with, this being, this entity, this evilness, and turn with me. And then you get a version of the Twisted Sisters of evil Nikki and evil Alexa, none of which having anything to do with Bray other than Bray's evil influence changed them into being that level of evil.
Yeah. I think, I great, when I saw Alexa do the Sister Abigail, I loved it. I was like, holy shit, that's awesome. And
Yeah, I screamed.
yeah, like, when she walked off, like, in a trance, as they called it, the first thing that came to my mind was the moth to the flame that they always used to say.
Oh.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, she's just a little moth right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I thought she was kept away from the Funhouse. Because I think the obvious move was to put Alexa in the Funhouse. And they're like, no, swerved us, if you will, with the walrus.
But even that was a swerve, too, because the obvious move was to put Nikki there. Everyone thought they were going to put Nikki in the Funhouse to begin with. And when we started thinking maybe not Nikki, I guess it's going to be Liv, no one thought about Alexa. When realistically, when you really think about Alexa and her chops, she probably fits in there better than most. You know?
She got that acting.
GR Lunar says that's some good-ass booking, Marsh. I'm telling you, guys, listen to me. Pritchard. I work cheap, man. I work so cheap. Anyone here will tell you, I work so cheap.
He's
Yeah,
very cheap. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, nearly just for drinks.
You should see the stuff I've done for Kevlar for no money.
Hey, you said you weren't gonna talk.
Yeah, the videos have been destroyed.
God damn it. Calm down, Joe.
But-
You got it.
The debt I've gotten into.
Yeah, yeah. I'll never outgrow this debt. So, the other thing, though, is people were expecting Alexa in the Funhouse, and they want Alexa in the Funhouse. I think you can do some really cool stuff by keeping her away from the Funhouse, and that's how I would do it. And then I think you also rebuild your tag team division that way, because now you have a tag team that is tried and true. You know, the two of them together have been champions multiple times, and they, as weird as it was for Nikki to be so peppy, and we all just wanted crazy Nikki back, they worked together as a team, and I think they could work together as crazy people. I don't know. I think it could be really cool, and maybe at some point Fiend shows up after they've established themselves as the Twisted Sisters. That's just my thought.
Yeah. Do you think that when Alexa's gonna be in the fun and drops the "Come play with me, Nikki"?
Your audio kind of cut out for a sec. So
It
I
did
didn't-
cut out. Do we think that she's going to be in the Funhouse and then say, "Come play with me" while in the Funhouse?
Yeah, come play with me to Nikki. Like trying to convince her to come with her.
I think she'll probably use that line. I don't know that she has to be in the Funhouse to do that.
Yeah.
Like I'm saying, I really like the Alexa Bray stuff. I like that she's dreading her hair. I like that she's enthralled by the Fiend. I like that when someone brings up the Fiend, she goes in that trance and stuff. I like all of that. And I kept thinking, I want them together. I want them together. But the more I think about it, I think it's a lot more compelling that the Fiend's influence be greater than his immediate actions. Producer, something?
Yeah, I actually would like it if if that happened, if Nikki was influenced, if her transition was a bit more extreme in that, unlike Alexa, where she's getting the couple of, hair differences and she's getting a little bit of Bray influence, if Nikki just went like full on, completely, like flipped switch. So not like subtle or anything. I think that would be really
Not
cool.
a gradual thing?
Not
just,
gradual, just full.
And I think you could do that pretty easy, right? So you have Alexa making that transition. She gets to a certain point, and she's sitting there from like some weird room with like a red light behind her and just looking at Nikki like, "Come play with me, Nikki. Nikki, let's play." And she goes into the room with Alexa, and then the next time you see them, crazy, creepy music plays, and the two of them come out, and Nikki's full on different. That's how I would do it.
Yeah.
I like that. I think building it in like subtly, slowly. I like that.
Yeah, I'm into it. If you guys, is that all you guys had on that, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clump, what did you think when you saw her do the Sister Abigail?
I thought she did. I thought the move was done great. I think, like she did it well. It looked good. I think it fits her better than the punch she does, the knockout.
Yes.
So that's good. I liked the connection. I was like, because I was thinking, is this shit just over? Like the Bray Wyatt thing. So seeing how it was done, yeah, I agree with what you said. Like I didn't jump in because yeah, I agree with you. Like in terms of how we're building this up by not throwing her in, I think the Strowman Bray feud was great for Strowman. However, I don't know if it's over. I hope it's not over because I think if this is the end of it, I don't like it.
Yeah.
I think we need a lot more out of it. And I think, Braun's gotten a lot better, but I don't think that was the best it could have been.
Think of all the Fiend's opponents. They've all like skyrocketed since then, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even starting with Finn Balor. He went to NXT and everyone thought, now he's the fucking champion and he's the talk of NXT and has been for almost a year.
He's great, yeah.
Seth is doing the best work of his career, in my mind. The Messiah, I love it. Braun Strowman is the most compelling his character has ever been. Even when he was with the Wyatt family, he wasn't as compelling as he is right now. What were you saying, Clump?
Kane's still mayor.
Kane is still a mayor. Lawler has a podcast, which is doing very well. I mean, John Cena, I guess he's doing okay in Hollywood.
Yeah, he's
He's
gonna
finally
be in a
making movies.
superhero movie.
Yeah, he's got those hefty bag commercials.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know. But I'm just saying, the storylines he's had with people have done really well. I still can't wait for him to do the one with Roman, because that's got to come. That kind of leads me into, on a real quick side note here, the Fatal 4-Way match to determine who was going to face Bayley at Clash of Champions was against Alexa, Nikki, Tamina, and Lacey. And I couldn't figure out why we didn't have Naomi, Dana, Carmella, or Mandy. I mean, you had a whole other Fatal 4-Way you could have had with women who haven't had title shots against Bayley.
Because Mandy's on Raw.
Yep.
Well, that was before Mandy went to Raw. And then when Mandy got announced to Raw, I went, oh, I guess that's why you don't do the thing. But then you had 3 other people you could have brought out. Like, why do I need to see Nikki or Lacey against Bayley again?
Yeah, I saw a lot of complaints online that Nikki and Bayley for the millionth time, and kind of felt to me just like a last-minute booking.
It felt a little thrown together, and I feel like you could have had Naomi or Dana or Carmella. Even with a Dana, no one expects Dana to win, but no one expects Nikki to win. At least with Dana, we can say, let's see what Dana has. Because, I mean, you think about when Tamina had her shot. It was the first time she'd had one in 10 years, and no one for a second thought Tamina was going to win. But there were definitely moments in that match where I thought, wait, are they going to give Tamina this moment?
Yeah, that was actually a great match.
It was probably the best Tamina match she's had. Bayley's bringing out the best in all these women. Let's see her bring out the best of somebody else,
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think?
I like that. I agree with that. I think, I honestly, like, this 2020 for wrestling, to me, the people we've put the belt on, or we've had at the top of the bill, we've seen maybe the best matches I feel we've seen in a long time, with the exception of Drew. But then I've really liked Randy. I've not liked Drew, but I feel like people around him have done well. But
It's true. Drew doesn't have any match that someone would consider a classic match or that someone would go back and watch.
Yeah, no.
There's no rewatch match.
I don't get it, personally. I don't feel like he is at the caliber of a lot of people. I don't get me wrong. He's a big son of a bitch. He looks great, and he can go in the ring, Him in the Royal Rumble was fantastic.
Yeah,
and
he was good there.
Yeah, but it feels like him in the role they had him, though it does seem to be changing finally, was not building anyone up. It was, I think you could make the argument that everyone he battled against, his weaknesses were what he called them on, and they were really a mirror of him. Like what he called Brock Lesnar on when he was going for the going into WrestleMania. Yeah, that kind of fits him. The being a part-timer, because Drew's there, but he's really not going out every week to wrestle. When he went against Randy and he talked about, you never really built anyone. Well,
how weird too. Think about it this way: he beat Sorry, I had a stroke. It's just because I doubled on that moonshine in the end. But how weird is it to think Drew McIntyre beat Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania to win the Universal Championship or to win the World Championship? The biggest moment in his career, probably the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
That had the most fire behind it. That had the most pop behind it. And not even to say audience versus no audience. That aside, the audience would not have blown up for him beating Brock like they did for him at Rumble because everyone expected him to beat Brock.
Yes.
People weren't sure that he was going to win the Rumble. People wanted him to win the Rumble. Like, think about it in when we were at the Rumble, Kev. When Becky went in, we all thought she's got to win it. But her being in there with Charlotte, we thought there's no reason they wouldn't just give it to Charlotte. And when she finally did it, we exploded because we didn't know. We wanted and we hoped and we thought maybe, but there was definitely reasonable doubt. When Seth won, the crowd wasn't half as excited because that's all they've been talking about all weekend is like, oh yeah, when Seth wins the Rumble.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then when Seth went through the table, it was like solidified. It was like, oh, he's resting because he's gonna come win now.
Yeah.
Like the crowd wasn't half as big, and so I think with Drew, him being in the end with Roman, it was like, oh my God, they're gonna give it to Roman again. He got it. He had a huge ovation. I don't think he would have gotten the same level of ovation at Mania, just because I think people were expecting it. Oh, he's here to beat Brock.
Yeah.
No, I think that goes further. Is go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say everyone was expecting, Brock to lose at Mania, that was the end of the line, and it was.
Yeah.
That was pretty much done. I was gonna let you go.
No, I was gonna say is you're right in that the build to Mania wasn't great for him, and then Rumble no Rumble or Rumble no Rumble, like were we expecting it? There's a lot more that could have been done to make Drew look better. I mean, if this is all gonna become this long turn for Drew to become a heel again, and Drew to be, a spoiled asshole, which I think we're getting to, I'm all for it because it makes sense to me. His character.
Yeah, that doesn't bother me.
Yeah, it makes more sense there, and I think you could make a better argument for that than you could for him being this glorious, victorious, amazing face, because he's not. He's a smug, shitty, like he's Triple H he's Triple H trying to be a face. Like,
dude, he's so easy to hate. I don't get it.
Yeah, he's Triple H like 2003. If you for some reason thought, it'd be cool, let's make Triple H a face, Evolution and everything. We'll just get rid of that, but we'll make him a face. We'll have it so that we'll forget all the stuff when Randy wins the Royal Rumble or Batista wins the Royal Rumble and is going to go challenge him. We'll have everyone turn on him, and then you realize, yeah, but Triple H is just such an easy person to hate. He's such a good asshole.
Yo, for sure.
Yeah.
I didn't have much else to say about Drew until we get to Raw. Are you guys both good with just wrapping up SmackDown?
Yeah.
Couple things still. I thought, okay, we'll do it in this order, real quick. The Street Profits and Cesaro with Shinsuke Nakamura. Did they or did they not? Was it just me? Did they make Cesaro and Shinsuke look completely dumb while Street Profits were throwing that party? Even Cole talked about how no one thought this team would be successful. They seemed kind of thrown together, but yet here they are as champions, like undermining their credibility.
Yeah, and it felt really shitty, and you have a person who, if nothing else, you can make the argument that, well, Shinsuke's got the best second man in that Cesaro is a fantastic tag team champion, and he's been in this spot before, and they've not been thrown together. They've been like in Sammy's stable for a year now.
Yeah. And Sammy brought them together because in kayfabe, Sammy saw something about them that they would click that they maybe didn't see. Like that's how those old managers used to do it. It was, you guys don't know it. It's how the Bar got together, for Christ's sake. Mick Foley said, you guys are special and you're special together. I want you guys to do a best 6 out of 7 series of matches to prove who's the better man. And when they came to a stalemate, he said, you see, because you're going to make a great tag team. And the idea was always that here's two incredible stars that their chemistry is so off the charts together fighting or otherwise that they're going to click. And Sammy saw that, kayfabe. Sammy saw that in Shinsuke and Cesaro and put them together. He's like, you guys are artists at what you do. Your collaboration will be more art. And that's how he made the Artist Collective. I thought it was great, brilliant. But here we have Michael Cole undermining them and trying to put over the Street Profits even on SmackDown, and I just didn't understand.
Yeah, no, why? like like one of those, like, I don't know how the fuck you did this. Just no. And it also doesn't, like, it made them just look like two boring old fucks, and they're not.
So weird, man.
Yeah, versus two people that I'm trying to like the Street Profits more and more, but Sheamus and Cesaro are fantastic in the ring. You know, I think they could make the Street Profits. They are fantastic workers. They could make these guys look fantastic, but instead we're kind of focused on them being weird and out of sync.
Yeah. Yeah, and why would you try to make the Cesaro and Shinsuke seem less than credible if you're trying to put over the Street Profits? You want Cesaro and Shinsuke to look insurmountable.
Yeah.
How are you ever? I mean, the Street Profits may be good, but these guys are former singles champions. You know, Shinsuke had a world title match at WrestleMania. You don't just get that being a tag guy. Yeah, Montez and Street Profits held the NXT title, but they lost it on their first defense. You know what I mean? Like, undermine the Street Profits and make people say, like, hey, they're not that good. But Cesaro and Shinsuke are real credible threats. And then when Street Profits go over, it's like, aha, fuck you guys. You didn't realize how good the Street Profits are. You know what I mean?
Nobody makes a comment about, like, you know, these guys throw a great party, but can they do a great match? And I think that there's a worry in that coming off and diminishing them. But that's kind of what wrestling is. Wrestling is diminishing and raising people up. It's fighting expectations. It's not done in a way that's meant to sound shitty or negative of them, but it's a way to be like, yeah, but really that's what they do. You guys
can't overcome if the chips aren't stacked against you. Kevlar, what were you going to say?
No, I was excuse me. I was just agreeing, with everything. I don't understand why. What do they say? Each quarter there's the brand-to-brand invitational.
Yeah.
Why you would waste it on the tag division in general? Why would you bring both champions together? They're considering, we're supposed to have this at Survivor Series. This is what Survivor Series has turned into.
That's true. I mean, I'd rather a woman come over for the Raw Women's title. I mean, we'll get to the whole Mickey business, but even with Bayley, I'd rather an invitational match at Clash of the Champions than this.
Mm-hmm. But
yeah.
I don't. To me, I just feel like they're at each show, and I think they're like, all right, well, let's just put them against each other.
Yeah.
And I hate it. I don't like it. This was, when they faced on Raw, this was the only time that I was like, yes, I want double chance. I want Shin and Cesaro to win it. Double tag team chance. I don't think that's ever been done.
Yeah, just do it.
And yeah, everyone else is double chance. Make them, and let's leave the Street Profits to their own devices for a while.
Yeah, and then they have something to overcome. Like I said, if a real babyface, a real strong babyface, always in peril, always undermined. No one thinks they can do it. Dominant babyfaces don't come off the same way. Mm-hmm. I mean, even when you look at Brett was always against a real ass kicker, and it was really going to be the guy who did him in. It was Brett's confidence and just being the greatest technician in the ring that gave him a possibility of an edge. It was always like, well, maybe they can't because Brett is so good in the ring. You know what I mean? But like having a babyface champion like Drew, where it's just like, yeah, he just is going to win all the time, always. Like being dominant. I mean, I think the same thing rings true here with Street Profits. Why do you want the Street Profits to look so dominant if you're getting a brand to brand invitational? Really lean into the fact that Shinsuke and Cesaro are both former Intercontinental champions. I think they both held the United States champion. Cesaro's held tag team champions countless times with countless partners. So what are you guys going to do to overcome that? Because you guys have only been tag team champions for a short period of time, longest on Raw, I suppose. And when you guys had the other tag championships, you lost them right away. So make it seem like they can't do it. And then when they do, people will cheer. I feel like.
Yeah.
I didn't even like the match when they actually did it.
I mean,
felt like it played too much into the same thing. It was undermining Shinsuke and Cesaro, so when the Street Profits won, it was like obvious and stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like something else too, and so I got to kind of explain this out. I feel like because I'm going to say this and it might sound bad.
No.
Oh.
I know. I would love the Street Profits to be in a program with the Hurt Business. Not because we're mashing everyone together that looks like a certain type, and I feel like that's not what I'm saying. I feel like you have in MVP a dominant heel who can go on a mic better than anyone, who has this group of people, and he can say, none of these guys could get anything done without me. And look what's happening now. We're making the system work for us. We're doing things that work for us. We're making things work out for us. And then bring the Street Profits in, and that could be like a positive kind of like it could be a feud between them in that way where it's like, I think because MVP and Montez Ford to me have a similar energy on mics.
MVP and Montez Ford?
Yeah. Like
I think MVP would embarrass Montez Ford. And I only say that because not because I don't think Montez Ford has the capability, but because he has the desire to be more of a joke than he has the desire to be more legitimate. MVP would rip Montez to shreds as a clown. You are a clown on acting a fool.
I would love it.
Yeah, and Montez would be saying goofy, stupid shit, and MVP would be able to call his play before he even says it, because the other thing Montez keeps doing is repeating his not only his own self, but what other people have said. He's quoting everyone else. So you have MVP rip him apart for that, and maybe you see a switch flip in Montez and says, do you want me to take it all down? Do you want me to strip it all out? You want me to not be the showman? Then you're going to get someone you really don't want to see. You know what I mean? And have him get serious. Have him get in his face.
Love it.
It'd be amazing. And I think it's in him. I do think Montez is capable of that. But with that in mind, I do think that, like you said, them together in a program could be fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let's see. A couple other things real quick. I just want to hit this because people were talking about it, so I just thought we should talk about it real quick. During the Hardy and AJ match, Hardy, as he's leaving, collapses. And when he goes in the back, so Sammy interrupts the match and the whole thing. We've talked about it before. I'm super excited for this triple threat. It's going to happen. It's going to be a ladder match. I'm going to love it. But they did say that Hardy never lost consciousness. He was merely dehydrated. And they emphasized that he never lost consciousness. So a lot of people were talking about it. Do you think them saying he never lost consciousness was a jab at AEW, or do you think it's people reading too much into things? Let's start with Kevlar.
I think it was 100% jab to AEW. Because you take
Going in hot.
you take Matt Hardy's brother, and there was debate I saw whether he collapsed for real or it was just kayfabe or storyline and stuff. But I think it is 100% jab at AEW. Like, he never lost consciousness. With dehydration, it doesn't hold the same weight as a concussion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the losing consciousness and stuff like that. So, I don't know. I think it's 100% jab. I thought it was funny when I first heard it.
Dick.
I wonder what he thinks about it, You're making jabs at your brother, kind of.
Right? No, Matt Hardy's like watching, like kind of in the background doing other stuff, and he just goes like, like, Clump, what'd you think? Did you think it was an intentional jab?
I think
Clumpy,
so.
can you hear me?
No, I think so. I mean, like, to me,
was?
like, my like gauge for it being a jab is like, is there a reason to say it? Not particularly, other than to do that. So yeah, we're gonna rub some stank in this.
All right, if you think it was a jab, I'm gonna be the outlier on this one. I don't think it was a jab. I think that they had Jeff Hardy collapse for whatever reason. I think they're pushing some sort of weird storyline. Here's the other bit. I think that they were saying he didn't lose consciousness. I mean, I guess I could see it being a jab for sure. I see why people say that, but I don't. I think it was to make sure that you knew at home that he was largely okay. So when Sammy jumped him, it wasn't like this dude was just unconscious. You go, oh no, this dude was just really thirsty and dizzy. There's a difference. But do either of you think that the idea of him being dehydrated is playing back into the alcohol?
The booze.
The
Maybe.
booze.
I mean,
That's
you
the
could
one
also
thing
make
I
it an
am
age
afraid
thing.
of, because I don't think
Yeah.
it was a jab, but my concern is it becomes intertwined with that storyline, and I don't think it needs to go there.
See, I think that storyline's done, hopefully. And, I think he's already said his piece to get by it, and I think it'd be terrible storyline wise if, with all the rumors about Jeff and uniting with Matt and AEW, if WWE would do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Plump?
I hope it doesn't connect to that. I agree with you. I could see it though, where it's like bringing back that we're gonna keep playing into the idea of him growing out of the illness of addiction. But I I don't like it. I hope it's not that. I hope it's just a dig at AEW. I would prefer it just be that and be something silly and dumb. But
Yeah.
as bad as that is, 'cause I'm not the biggest fan of that bullshit, But
That's
I,
true.
yeah, I don't
Lesser
want
of
it
two
to
evils
be
for sure.
yeah. I don't want it to be like well, see, he was, because he drank so much. Like, I just don't want to get back into that anymore. I feel like the arc is completed now with the documentary, with his feud there, and now it's like I'm okay with him being the old man who's overcome things and is going.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did you watch Chronicle?
I did.
What'd you think?
I liked it. I liked it a lot. I liked it more than the last one.
A lot more insight than you probably expected. You know what I mean? Like,
I
more than I thought.
agree. I know. I didn't think it was going to go that deep into him.
Did it help you appreciate the bar fight?
It helped me appreciate the idea of it, and I still think it could have been executed better. But I get the idea.
So it helped you appreciate where Jeff was coming from more so than your own reception of it.
Yeah,
And
I
that's
think
fair.
it could have. Yeah,
To
and
try
I think,
to, I mean, I think that's all you can really ask, right? To try to at least understand the vision of the artist, whether or not the art speaks to you in that way or not.
Yeah.
Interpretation is always going to be there, and especially with anyone's own life and history, it's going to affect your interpretation of it. But to maybe be able to appreciate at least the mindset of the artist at the time, and I felt like that's a lot what that was, which is cool.
yeah.
What did you guys think about the vignettes with the blonde, the leggy blonde?
I don't know. I'm kind of torn on it. It's like, okay, where are they going with it? Not much interest outside of it being a leggy blonde.
Yeah.
Right now, yes. Right now, the big rumor is it's looking more and more like it's probably Carmella.
I like that. I think she needs a comeback. Like, her in this, like, just bring Carmella back. I'm down with that.
I'm cool with Carmella coming back. I think it works into the idea of her being fabulous. She was always kind of like in sneakers and stuff and kind of like street fabulous. But this is kind of like gaudy fabulous, and I feel like that she was when she was champion and dressing up for her promos where she wasn't going to be fighting, she was kind of on that borderline anyway. So I think it really works with her. I think that there was a little bit. It seemed a little bit more revealing than I would have expected. It seemed a lot more club-like, go-go dancer almost. One of the things I thought was really funny, just as a little side note, they made a total show of her putting a stocking on as like a motion. And then before and after, you never see her in any kind of stocking at all. Yeah. So it's all like, oh, here she is putting a stocking up her leg. And then the next shot is like she's just bare-legged. I just thought it was a funny, weird detail where it's like, why'd you put that in? Like, you really went out of your way. Like, but I don't know if I feel that Carmella needs a big overhaul, but a tune-up might be nice to have her come back and seem like a threat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard some people say, "Oh, we're seeing the same people," so maybe some folks are getting a little tired of the characters themselves. So I don't mind that, you know.
I think a refresh could be nice. Kev, what do you think if it is Carmella?
I mean, I would like it. Like, think the whole Princess of Staten Island thing was drawn out with her, anyways. You
Yeah.
know, I like, if they completely rebrand her to be, sultry and stuff like that. Cool, let's go with it. See where it goes.
Cool. Yeah, no, I'm into it. I have no issues.
Or maybe it could be like kind of like a silly vignette too. Like she comes in and just kind of makes fun of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, if she was smart ass about it, I'm okay with it. I do think that. I mean, I do. Part of me does wish it was a big return or a big reveal, and it possibly still could be, even with them saying, that there's a tattoo that could be Carmella's that's starting to be shown. I think that also that, I mean, when you think of like La Luchadora, Mickie James was the last person to play La Luchadoras. You know what I mean? So I think that you could easily use someone else's body to do those shots and still have it be someone else. So part of me still is holding out that it's a return. And I've heard people talk about Eva Marie and Kelly and Summer Rae as all options. And none of those really excite me from the level of me remembering any great matches by any of them. But they all kind of excite me about storytelling and potential ways we could go with it that direction. But if it is just a rebranding for Carmella, I have no complaints about Carmella getting back on TV and being amazing.
And I think like we need more depth in the women's division. It's certainly a lot deeper than AEW, but I think we're kind of in this cycle where we're having our champions go through people and then they're disappearing pretty rapidly and they're not coming back. And I want to see more. Like, we haven't seen Lacey Evans in a while. We haven't seen Tamina. We haven't seen quite a few people. And then we're bringing Naomi.
We hadn't seen Mickie James in forever.
And now we're putting people in tag teams as well. Like, Carmella would be a fantastic, like, hey, come back and do, like, because she gets a pop, and she's fucking good. She's good in the ring. She's good on the mic. Yeah, like, I'd like to see her come back more, and it's been too long.
Yeah. No, and I think that when she was a champion, she was actually fantastic. I think she was just hitting her stride when she lost her momentum, and I thought that was a total shame, so I'm super here for it. I think there's only one other thing to talk about. Go ahead, Kev.
I was just going to say, the whole time she was champion, it was almost, to me, it always felt like she was championed by luck. Like it was luck that she beat Charlotte. And then she bragged about it and stuff like that. If she comes back and is like, hey, I'm, I don't know what the vignettes would mean besides like I don't know, serious businesswoman. She's down to business now, no more partying. Cool. But I think rebranding would be great for Carmella.
Yeah.
For a second, she kind of reminded me of like the female version of like MVP. Kind of like when she's snapping her fingers and then someone brings her a coat, like kind of just like that.
She's high class.
Yeah, like I could do whatever I want. Yeah. Well, no, more like a boss. Yeah, more like a manager boss, which sounds cool, but I do want to see her in the ring more than we do see MVP in the ring. Because I like MVP in the ring too, but...
It's true. I think when Carmella comes to the ring and they have someone go to hold the ropes open for her, I think Corey Graves should rush up to the ropes and hold it open and then rush back to the table. The only other part really that we got to talk about is probably the most important part of all TV and maybe the history of all television. Bailey cut a promo.
Whoa.
What was that?
Oh my.
What the fuck was that, Clump?
What? I was snoring. I was sleepy.
Yeah, fell asleep.
Yeah, it's a long night, champ.
I don't know if something's going on with your camera, Clump, but you may be paused. But that Bailey promo, Clump, before I even get into it, what'd you think of that promo by Bailey explaining why? What? He's back? Clump, before I even get into it,
Shit, I
what
might
did
be
you
police.
think of Bailey's promo coming out and explaining why she murdered Sasha Banks like she murdered Kairi Sane? What did you think of that promo?
I think it was a good heel promo. It was a real vicious ass heel promo, and I was hoping that it would go this way where the face turn would be Sasha, not Bailey, and I didn't think they'd take it so far to have Bailey go even deeper. I'm like, oh yeah, cool, I'm cool with this. I'm cool with Bailey being just like mean evil monster.
Yeah, like I think it's really cool that the story became, because I've been talking about it for weeks, how I thought that Sasha should turn because I think Bailey could still be a likable face when she gets turned on. And I talked about all the aspects of Bailey as a face and Sasha as the heel.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Bailey being so driven by her career and potentially playing innocent and allowing people to think she was just kind of dumb and happy when the whole time it was, how do I take advantage of the situation? Realizing very early on, and someone posted a clip of years ago when they first fought right before they got into their like couples therapy,
Mm-hmm.
that Sasha or Bailey had said something along the lines of Sasha of like, I know you're using me to keep an eye on me, kind of a deal. And so the idea that it could be that far back, even that they went to that couples therapy, and as they get out of it, Bailey's like, I'm not dumb. Sasha's not going to change, but I could ride this out just the same way that she can, except the thing is I'm going to know what she's up to, and she's going to think I don't know what she's up to. So I really liked that aspect of it. Kev, what did you think of the Bailey promo?
I really liked it, just, from her saying, hey, I did this before, you can do it to me.
Yeah.
And I loved it because, Corey's always used to mention it.
Yeah.
Oh, South Snake, she's gonna turn on Bailey. When's it gonna happen? This and that. And, once again, it felt like it was kind of going towards that.
Mm-hmm.
And then for Bailey to be like, hey, this was my plan the whole, let me use you. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was watching some stuff where people they'd done little clips of every time Sasha and Bailey would say something, and Sasha would say like something like, I'm going to get my revenge, and she'd be looking like right at Bailey, and Bailey would just sit there and sort of smile like she didn't know what was going on. But then you rewatch it with that context, and you're all like, no, she was smiling because she's like, you think I don't know. You know what I mean?
Gotcha, bitch.
Yeah, gotcha.
Gotcha, motherfucker.
100%. So I don't know. I've been, when I really look at it and I'm seeing some of the older clips that have been floating around, because I'm part of that Bailey fandom on Twitter, and there's no point to use Twitter if it's not to see Bailey clips, so far as I can tell. And
that's why Twitter was invented, right?
it's the whole point. It's the whole reason it's there. If you're not on Twitter strictly to support Bailey as fervently as possible, why do you have a Twitter? It's probably why Clump doesn't log into Twitter much, to be honest. There's nothing else to do. But
I'm passively in favor of Bailey at best.
yeah, 100%. But the idea that this could, the details have been there for so long, and I think that I don't think it was accidental. I think Sasha and Bailey had been even if the office wasn't 100% behind it the whole time, I think they were willingly and knowingly leaving signals along the way, hoping they could push the office to go that way. You know what I mean?
The Hansel and Gretel breadcrumbs.
Yeah, and it's all there for everyone to eat up and enjoy, and I think it's awesome. I think something else about it, it brought in, what was it, 2.3 or 2.6 million viewers on that segment alone, which I think is important to note, not because it's this whole demo god business, but because SmackDown the past 2 weeks have gotten the best ratings they've gotten since the pandemic. Last week's AEW was the best ratings they've gotten since the pandemic. I think wrestling fans are tuning back in, and that's what I'm saying. And what is making them tune back in? And right now, the storyline that's really making people say, hey, make sure you don't miss this, Bayley and Sasha is one of those big drawing stories. 2.3 overall, but what was the segment? I thought was a little higher, but it's all right.
For SmackDown.
Yeah.
We'll see. Backtracking a little bit, I think that's the whole reason why they made Street Profits look so much better than Shinsuke and Cesaro to bring attention to Raw. Hey, SmackDown's got it. What's flashy and exciting? Oh, we got the Street Profits. Let's throw them over there and say, hey, look at Raw. Look at Raw.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that for sure. Anything else either you guys want to say about Bayley's promo? Or that storyline in general? What you hope from it? I'm a little surprised Sasha's coming back already this coming week to talk. I thought they were going to play that out a little longer.
Yeah.
But she'll be back.
Yeah.
So that's a no. Okay. Moving on to Raw.
Wait, there's one more thing going back even further because you guys didn't let me get my piece in.
Get it in.
Real quick, going back to Roman, like to the beginning of SmackDown. So when you got WrestleMania, do you think they're building towards a Roman Rock match? Because Heyman keeps throwing out the chief of the family or whatever. Whatever he keeps calling it.
Nah. Rock,
You don't think so? You think Rock's gonna come back and say, "Hey, I'm," or whatever.
I don't think so. I don't see that
Especially
happening.
since his dad was, or his grandfather was High Chief Maivia.
Oh,
I
The
don't think so.
Rock. I thought you said Brock.
No,
Like
The
Brock
Rock,
Lesnar.
Yeah,
Ah,
Rocky
the
Johnson.
White Samoan.
Or not
I
Rocky
do
Johnson,
think that there's a possibility for that. I definitely think they're leaving that open. I don't know if they're going that way because I think they also understand that you can't just guarantee you're going to go that way.
Yeah, because you don't know what's gonna happen in April with everything going on. But that's
Yeah.
every.
Kev,
I've
we're not
felt
hearing
that.
that line. You completely faded out.
Oh, I said the chief of the family or whatever. When Heyman keeps saying that, I feel like that's always big at The Rock.
I feel like there's a very good possibility they're hoping to get that way, that they get to a point where Roman is evil and the good guy Rock shows up and he's like, "What are you doing?" And Roman kind of like sticking his nose down on The Rock, being like, "You have no business here anymore. I've outgrown you. The business has outgrown you," and try to make The Rock seem like lesser than, and you can really build a big match feel where Roman says that Rock ain't shit anymore, and The Rock's like, "Don't you forget that I am the great one." You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm the chief. I never relinquished my title, if you
Yeah.
will. Especially since WrestleMania is in Hollywood, or supposed to be in Hollywood this year.
Yeah, I know they thought they were going to try and get there with it being in Tampa, but we saw that not really pan out. But with it being in Hollywood, yeah, there's a possibility. I think you could definitely go that way, and I think if they build it right, I'd be completely on board for it.
Yeah, I saw a rumor. The rumor is that they're looking at ways to hold an outside show, but there's nothing that's going to be confirmed because of this wild time that we're living in. That we don't know what it's going to be like next year.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Does that wrap up SmackDown?
I think that nails SmackDown.
Yes.
I don't have a ton about Raw to definitely dig into. I
Yeah.
will get this out of the way because we already talked a ton about Drew. But they announced this Drew and Randy match to be an ambulance match. Has there ever been a good ambulance match? Ever?
Nope.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I can't
Like-
think of a single one. I don't know. The second he was all like, oh, you're trying to put me in the hospital, I was like, oh no, it's going to be an ambulance match.
Hmm.
Hated
I
it.
mean, if there was ever a time to do it, we could do it now because we can do the angles and cameras and stuff. Well, shit, can we do that with Thunderdome?
Thunderdome brings it. Thunderdome! Dude, when I was in the Thunderdome this week on Raw, they told me to boo Adam Pearce when he came out. I was like, what are you talking about? Adam Pearce is a hero.
Yeah, this week they were actually going back to giving specific direction, whereas previous weeks they were very, very lenient and just said, okay, react. This past week, they definitely told you how to react, which was a little disappointing.
Yeah, it was weird. They were very much like, so the last number of weeks, it's been very much, show us how
Have
you
fun.
feel, move, react, make the cameras are on you guys, use motion, This week,
WWE superstar.
yeah, and then they're like, here comes your WWE champion, tell us how you feel, show us how you feel, and you're like, oh. But this one, it was like, here comes Adam Pearce, guys, boo the Authority, boo him, and I was like, what? Why?
I like Adam Pearce. I want them
like him a
to
lot.
officially strap the GM title on him.
He's reasonable.
Yeah. The other
He's a
thing
guy
is
doing
that
his job.
Drew McIntyre was out there saying he had a fractured jaw and he wasn't clear to wrestle. And then he's saying, and then Adam Pearce comes out to say, well, if Randy Orton can't get cleared to wrestle, I was like, what does it fucking matter if you do, apparently? Drew McIntyre just decides he's wrestling because he's the champion, even though he just said he has to heal and can't. They said one bad hit, it would break his jaw. You're telling me that any doctor would clear him? Drew just said he's not cleared, unhealthy, and they go, yeah, be on your way. What the fuck was that? The whole storyline was stupid.
Yeah, I hate all of this shit. And going back to a couple weeks with Keith Lee is, I know a lot of people love that Keith Lee's there and he's acting like a badass and stuff like that. But I've lost so much steam for Keith Lee with this.
I'm getting it back. It's
Yeah,
coming
but it's
back.
because he's third wheel in this story. He's a second thought in this thing.
But it was even before then when he was looking so dominant against Randy Orton. Like, and maybe it's just because I'm a huge, Orton fan, but I've lost so much steam that Keith Lee has gained from NXT and watching him there and be like, dude, this dude's a badass, to looking at it now and be like, hey, it might be unpopular, but he's lost it for me.
Yeah. I think it's because he's such a third wheel in this thing. Drew and Randy are having a storyline that Keith Lee seems to be a part of and no one knows why.
That's a bummer. That's a real bummer.
Yeah. He's got no purpose in the storyline. He's got no reason to be there. He's just there.
Yeah.
So basically what you need from them is some sort of reason. If they gave you a reason, is there any reason you could see that would make sense?
I don't know why Keith Lee's a part of this at all. This has nothing to do with Keith Lee. What was that, Kev?
I was going to say, I don't even think it's that. Even if there was a great reason that Keith Lee's there and in the middle of it, I just look at it and, you look at Drew, who's mediocre to the lower tier on the mic. So is Keith Lee, and seeing them trying to interact with each other this week was terrible. It was so just. And then when they were fighting back there, and then Keith Lee does this whole thing, and he's just standing there for no reason, and then Drew hits him again. I was like, what the fuck is going on with these two?
I can't
but
not
we're
think
best
of
friends.
Frazier.
We're best friends.
Yeah. Keith Lee's the Frazier of WWE, and I just don't think it clicks yet.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. He sounds different and he seems different and looks different and all that stuff is exciting and new. But there's a certain point where you're all like, why is he talking this way? Is he not actually mad? And then he makes like the angriest face and you're all like, is he a cartoon? Like, he got mad like a kid gets mad. Where he stood there and went, and you're all like, kids do that. I remember kids in middle school doing that, and I remember being in middle school and being like, what are you doing, dude? Like, are you actually mad or are you like anime mad?
Calm down, boss. You gonna be okay.
Yeah, like that kid who was trying to turn Super Saiyan on YouTube a few years back.
Oh yeah, pooped himself.
Which one?
Yeah. He was weird.
Which kid?
I'll show you later. You're going to love it.
He pooped himself.
He pooped himself. That's a
Oh, I
win.
thought you're...
Okay, I don't need to see this then. I'm good.
You're going to watch it.
So
No.
bad.
Nope.
Yep, you're going to love it.
Nope.
Yeah.
Clump
To
helped
be
me there.
famous.
Yeah, he's famous. So, yeah, I don't know why he's there. I don't know what he's doing. I really like him in the ring. I really like the way that the guys are selling for him. I think he looks like a credible threat. But I don't understand what's happening most of the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. When it even goes back like last week with Drew. And
What about Drew? Last
sitting
week.
there on the railroad tracks. But
Sorry, you cut out for a sec, Kev.
oh, sorry.
He's out again.
And he's in. Nope.
Stupid.
Kev?
Oh, hey.
Murder.
Hold on, let me turn these damn things off.
Thanks for tuning
you for
in. If
sticking
you
through
just
with
jumped
us.
in.
Yeah, hang out with us at twitch.tv/wrestling on the rocks. Be part of the chat. Be part of the show. Let's see. I think that Keith Lee's losing some steam with a lot of this. Like, they're booking him great, and he's doing an awesome job. His gear's different every time. His music hasn't clicked. His promos can be kind of confusing. You can't tell what his emotion is. I think that's what the big problem is. I don't mind him sounding smart and using big words. I mind him being super calm and trying to also be angry at the same time. It's not computing well. I think in theatrics and I think in performance that there's an art to subtlety, but there's also a reality in people being pushed to their limits, right? Like, I can't tell if he's being pushed or not. And maybe I'm not supposed to, but it also makes me go, I don't know that I should care, because he doesn't seem to care. And you go, oh, but he's suddenly mad. And you're like, but was he mad? Because he wasn't talking like someone who was mad. So it's just a little confusing as far as that goes. I want to see a lot more with Keith Lee. I don't think he needs to be involved in some sort of third wheel angle around Randy and Drew, because it doesn't even really seem to be about the title. The other thing I thought was weird is the stipulation for this match was that if Keith Lee won and then Randy Orton couldn't compete, that Keith Lee would get Randy Orton's spot at Clash of the Champions. But then what happens if Keith Lee wins but Randy can compete? You know what I mean? Like, it just overcomplicated things.
Triple threat.
Yeah, well, maybe. Let's see. We already talked about. Is there anything else you want to say about Drew or that story?
Nope.
Yeah, I'm good.
Just, Garza and Andrade seem like they're breaking up. What do you guys think about that?
I mean, the high point of that angle is Zelina. Like,
Yeah.
and if them breaking up is Maury, Zelina, and Andrade alone, okay, cool. That's great.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I want to see this breakup thing happen. I mean, I know we have to, but like, I feel like it's just kind of weird, you know?
To me, the biggest negative to it is that we might see 11 matches of Andrade versus Angel Garza, and that's how we started this.
That's very true. I'm just really kind of confused with Zelina because I never know exactly what she wants. I always think first, oh, she wants to be a manager, and now apparently she doesn't. And I feel like next week it could flip back. that maybe she wants a new team with other people. Like I don't know.
Yeah, her focus seems split. But when I think about how Andrade and Garza got together, we were even saying at the time, like, hey, we understood it was a pandemic and that they were short on staff and there was all these things. It was like, but we were seeing a lot of Garza and Andrade against each other. Why are we doing this? And then they got teamed up together. Now that they're splitting up, it's like, I don't want to see another dozen matches of the two of these guys. I'm just not interested. I'm barely interested in them as a tag team because we've only seen them against the same tag teams over and over. These guys need to split and go completely separate directions.
I agree with
Agreed.
that. No, I agree with that. They need to just not be around. They need to. Well, they need to not be around each other. I feel like we're lumping together these groups, and it's not worked for Andrade and Angel Garza being together. It didn't work for Humberto Carrillo. Like it's kind of drug everyone down attached to him. They're not bad. I think that Andrade is fine by himself or with Zelina. I prefer with Zelina. I feel like Angel Garza needs more time in NXT. Like,
yeah, he felt rushed.
He really was. Like, and his gimmick is like he's good in the ring, but his gimmick is pulling clothes off and being a ladies' man, and it feels just kind of like one note. You know, he can do so much more, and he needs to do more.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I feel like them separate will be better and longer lived.
Where do you think Zelina goes from here, Kev?
Apparently for the Raw Women's title.
Ah, for fuck's sake.
I did not see that coming because I honestly can only think of a handful of singles matches that she's even had.
And none of them were great. She had a decent match with Bianca, but that was it.
She's got like the one really cool move that I like that she does off the side of the ring, usually on the outside when she jumps.
Hurricane Rana.
Yeah, like I like when she does that, but other than that, there's not a lot of memorable moments. I feel like I love her on the mic. Absolutely love her on the mic.
She had a really good match against Bianca Belair, but 100% of her other matches were just not good. They weren't great. I remember even us talking about it where I was like, oh yeah, I thought she was a lucha and she did all this stuff. And then we were like, oh, she's going to be in the ring. It's going to be great. And then she was in there with like Lana, and then she was in there with someone else. And I remember every time we were like, what? Was I mistaken? You know, and I looked it up and I was. She had not wrestled at all before going to NXT. That she was a cosplayer who learned the Hurricane Rana to do it as a manager, and then that was kind of it. So I was like, oh, I was way off. But she hasn't had any great matches, especially to the point where she would deserve a Raw Women's title shot. Like, I don't see that. That came out of nowhere.
I do feel like every time
especially
I
for
see
her
her
saying that she's great.
Yeah.
I do feel like every time I see her, it's a fashion. It's like a fashion note of who is she gonna cosplay tonight, or what's her look gonna be tonight, and I kind of want a bit more.
Yeah, she's definitely made the what Zelina gonna wear the highlight of the Zelina stuff. I'm more curious to know to see what she's wearing tonight or what she looks like than I am curious to see about what she's gonna say. And that's not even like it's not even like in a sexualized way. It's not even like, how much is she going to reveal? It's none of that. It's, I'm wondering what she's going to cosplay as. I'm wondering what kind of outfit she's going to wear on. She's always put a lot of thought into her clothes and her makeup, her costumes and stuff. And I'm always curious what she's going to wear. But I'm never curious on if she's going to show up and say something or do something.
Yeah. Maybe she's doing a heck of a lot of work outside. And we're going to see it come up. And that's okay. But I do agree with you. Like, it's not... It feels like stepping in front of a lot of people who could do it. I mean, we're at the point where we could have somebody who's already gone for the title come back for it and say, yeah, I wasn't ready a couple months ago. You know? What about, like, a Natty? What about, a Ruby Riott? These different people. I like Zelina a lot. This is an out-of-nowhere turn. But We need to see some matches.
I think also in this pandemic time that we're not being just driven by story alone. We're being driven by the characters and, their subtleties or not. So I think that has a lot to do with it. And when I think of her character, I don't see a lot of depth.
Yeah, I can't argue with any of that. And I thought that Zelina's promo was weirdly placed. Well, was there something else you guys wanted to say about Zelina?
No.
I do think her going for the Raw title is really out of place, really weird. I think that Mandy Rose has more credence than Zelina for any kind of title. I mean, even Zelina, when you look at her history, she's lost almost every match she's ever been in. You know what I mean? Apart from anything else, just a win-loss record alone. And the one thing we know about wrestling is win-loss records matter more than anything else. Mm-hmm. Your ranking is everything.
Yeah.
This is a sports-driven business. The other thing, this was, to me, placed... I don't know if it was placed weirdly because of the weirdness prior to its placement, or if it was placed there because something went wrong and they needed something to kill time. I'm very confused by that, because right before this was Asuka versus Mickey, and what I'm referring to as the Thunderdome screw job.
Yes.
I think that was a bad shoulder.
What was wrong with her shoulder?
I think she had a bad shoulder. I was reading
It was
somewhere
up.
that she, I was reading that Nikki had a shoulder. I don't know. That's what I was reading, but I don't. It was weird. I'm not saying that it was weird as hell the way it ended. It felt odd. Oh God.
Uh-oh. Which end?
Oh God.
Which end was that?
I had to. There was a shift.
There's a bubbling.
There's a fault line there.
That was at lunch. When you told me what you had for lunch.
Yeah, it was bound to happen. Everyone knew it.
That was dinner.
But I definitely think
Go
that
ahead.
Zelina being pushed out there, I definitely think it was forced. Like, hey, go say something.
Yeah.
Right? It felt that way, right? Like all this shit went wrong, and they're like, "Well, we still have like 3 minutes to kill."
Yeah.
And then there was just like Zelina was back there, and like, Zelina, go out there and challenge her for the title. And she went, "Okay, give me the mic," because you know what? Zelina could do that. I 100% think you can throw a mic at Zelina and say, "You've got 3 minutes. You've got to get a Raw Women's title match set up for Clash of Champions. Go."
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, she did a great job on the fly. She did a fantastic job on the fly.
Giving title shots to everyone and they mother.
I love that. The Ridgewood
accent.
and Jackson Heights in me just came out. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. Soon as she said they mother, we were all running around here. Oh! Ah!
Yeah, Queens of Brooklyn over here. We were like, oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no! That's what was happening at the house.
Honey, I think our neighbors are from New York.
Yeah. One of the best things that's happened to us, too, especially is when it comes to Thunderdome, is that our neighbors moved out, but their contract's not over yet. So we're not sharing a wall with anybody anymore. So when I'm in Thunderdome and I'm screaming and you can hear me outside,
my
I'm not
God.
disrupting the neighbors.
Yeah, I was outside for a sec and I could hear you.
Yeah.
So
because it's the
clearly.
Thunderdome!
So loud.
Thunderdome!
Just across the way neighbors. Like, it's now a competition to, like, make other neighbors upset.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
No, you
opened
don't
and closed the
understand.
door.
I live not in this unit.
I opened and closed the door. I saw the neighbors across the street kind of look over. I was like, oh, God.
Yeah. You're like, what? You never even been in the Thunderdome. You don't even know. I'm Thunderdome VIP.
That's how you got, like, front
They're
row.
just like, I can see why they moved.
Yeah. They're like, yeah, we should move too.
But also, speaking of front row, we had a guest appearance of the green shirt guy.
Green shirt guy made it. Did you guys
Nice.
check that?
About time.
Front row, left side, green shirt guy, Smiley. What was his at? We'll throw it out right here. Smiley, green shirt, brown hat, smiley face was right there doing the thing. And we're like, oh shit, he made it. We tweeted at him and he acknowledged it. It was him. He made it to the front row of the Thunderdome. That's the guy right there.
Superfan Smiley.
Superfan Smiles with a Z.
Like Zorro.
All right. Sorry about that, Thunderdome. But what do you guys think about Asuka Mickey? So you read that someone thought it was a shoulder injury. Kevlar, what did you think of the Thunderdome screw job?
I saw online something about it, but I didn't read into it because I hadn't watched the match yet.
Did you watch the match yet?
And then yes, I
Okay.
will tomorrow.
You turd.
By the time this airs, I will have seen it.
Yeah.
Really?
No, I watched it and it was definitely weird and I didn't understand what was going on. You know, the ref didn't put up an X or anything like that, but then when Zelina's out there talking, he's on the outside the whole time with Mickey.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and you know, they try to change the camera angles, but you see them on several, you know, different shots. And it was just weird. They didn't explain it. They said, hey, she's unable to continue. And then I was like,
Yeah.
okay, does she have a concussion? What's going on?
And the look on Mickey's face told it all. The second he calls the match and she looks over, she's tied up in an Asuka lock. The lock that murders people. And she stops selling to look at the ref and be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But not
Her
only that,
look
she was-
on
she was-
on her face was all like, it told it all. She turned around, she was
Yeah.
like, she couldn't believe what was happening.
I was so bummed for her.
while he called it, it looked like she was pinning Asuka.
Not only was she pinning Asuka in that predicament, but 2 spots before that, Asuka put Mickey into another submission, and Mickey's legs were tied up in the ropes and kept hitting
Yeah.
the ropes, and he kept not calling the rope break. And she put Asuka into a pinning predicament there, and he didn't count there either.
Yeah, he didn't.
So then she flipped around again and put her legs on the rope a third time, and that's when it gets broken up. And I think it's just because Asuka broke it up.
Yeah, Asuka let go.
Yeah, it was really strange. I was like, what is this ref doing? And then this whole thing happens, and he just calls the match. What I think is possible, and I don't know because we're not insiders. We don't pretend to be insiders. We're not dudes getting leaked information. We're just a bunch of guys drinking
for
and yelling
yourselves.
about wrestling. What?
Speak for yourself. I got
That's true.
sources. Yeah.
Clump does have sources, but it's not the sources you'd think.
Yeah.
The Source
Just
magazine.
longtime fans.
Is
Yeah.
several-
Which, by the way, Clump, I was surprised we didn't have that mutual friend. But I think that I think that there's been a Matt Hardy influence on the refs. I think that the refs were chewed up and spit out because of what happened in AEW to Matt Hardy. My gut tells me, just watching it, and I don't know. I don't know. But my gut tells me that they were pulled aside and said, we will not let that become us. There will never be an instance where everyone asks why the ref didn't stop the match. If someone is hurt, you stop the match. That's why we saw the match stop immediately with Ivar. Like Ref Bennett he didn't even care that Ricochet kicked out. He just called it 3 and said, sorry guys, match is over.
Yeah.
He didn't even care. And Ivar wasn't even in the match at the time. He was on the outside. They could have easily done like they did with Liv Morgan in the Riot Squad, where Sarah Logan pulls out Liv Morgan, rolls her out on the side, medical helps her right there, Ruby Riot takes on the match for the rest of the night. And that's just it, right? Because you can do that. They're not doing that anymore. This one, I don't know. I wasn't in the match. I don't know anybody. My gut tells me the ref thought he saw something that he didn't see and called the match and didn't check on the talent in that moment, where they're used to from before. You see something, you grab their hand, want them to respond, you're looking at them. I think because Mickey was in kind of a weird position, he thought he saw something that I don't think he saw, because I think she's absolutely fine, and called the match because he wanted to be safe.
Yeah.
If that's the case, then okay. I can't knock a guy for trying to be safe and putting the safety of the performers first above all else. I'll never knock a ref for doing that. I do think that maybe they should tweak perhaps their protocol. If you think you see something, you get that confirmation.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong. What do you think?
I can get that. I think that might be an accurate interpretation, is that there was something that was like, yeah, that doesn't seem right. I'm going to stop this. And that's fair. I think that's a great way to look at it and to try and do that because, I'm still upset about what happened with Matt Hardy. And I think that was utter bullshit and should not have gone that way.
Yeah.
So, I could see that like being the argument is like, no, I'm not going to let this happen anymore. Like, I'm not going to let this occur. And the ref, even in something that is predetermined, has the ability to allow improvisation.
Yes.
But yeah, I think that makes sense to me.
See,
Kev, what do you
the thing that gets me is that I think it's weird that WWE hasn't come out and clarified anything. Especially with AEW always saying ref's discretion and stuff like that. If WWE came out and said, "Hey, the ref thought, used his judgment, it was wrong. Hey, we'll get Mickey and Asuka on Monday." But they haven't even said the reason why she wasn't able to continue.
I think they really need to. Like, they need to say what happened, because this is weird.
Well,
There's too much to question.
Yeah.
Right. Producer here. I do think that Mickey was. I mean, first off, we haven't seen her in the ring in so long that I'm wondering if it's a possibility that maybe we weren't used to just how damn good she is with selling. Because I feel like, Marsh and I were looking over every other minute going like, man, is she really hurt? Nope. Oh, I guess she's fine. Like her old school, like maybe way of selling is so good that, maybe she even fooled the ref.
I think it's possible. You guys remember when Roman and Brock had that cage match where Roman's feet clearly hit the mat first? And they called the match for Brock, and then they brought out the referee the next night on Monday Night Raw, and they're all like, he's like, yeah, I fucked up. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like anything. Yeah, that was me. I made a horrible, horrible call, and they're all like, but the referee's decision stands because we back the referees in this organization. For one, as a ref, I was like, oh! Like, not only did a referee get to tweet and stand in front of the crowd and say, I fucked up, but the entire company stood behind him and said, and that's okay, because we can make it right 100 other ways.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So for this, it's got to be something. Mickey James will be on the bump tomorrow. If you're listening to this live on podcast, it's going to be later on today. Or maybe it already just happened based off the time you're listening to it. So
it's going to be Wednesday.
Okay. Well, you have to say it like that.
You're confusing people. You're being like AEW. Come on.
I'm not confusing. You're confusing people.
Let's not do the Mayan calendar thing. Let's just tell people what day it's going to be on.
To me, can't believe
it's the NBA calendar, not the Mayan calendar.
Yeah, right. See, it's your in calendar. Wait, that's not what it sounds like.
That was Marsha's horrible joke, so don't blame me.
I do think that they have to address it at some point, and I do think someone's going to come out and say something. But I don't know. That's my gut. That's what I think. And it sounds like Mickey's okay, and it sounds like, from what I gather from the little bits I've seen here and there, and the dirt sheets I don't subscribe to, I think it was a ref mistake. And I don't know why, but I think that's what it was.
At the end of the day, I'm glad she's okay. And hopefully she gets a rematch.
Yeah, and honestly, guys, I know no one thought Mickey was going to win. I'd have been so excited if Mickey won. I think a Mickey title run is long overdue. She came back looking for a title and didn't get one. And I think we all thought when she came back she was going to go straight to that title picture and be constantly in contention, and she just hasn't been. And I think she's good enough. And I would love to see her go on. What I want to see come out of this, I want her to go on a gold hunt. and I want the next year to be her trying to get the SmackDown Women's Championship, trying to get the Raw Women's Championship, trying to get with a partner to make sure she holds the women's tag team titles at some point. I want her to play the story of my legacy won't end at the not quite Mickie James or not quite Trish Stratus. It's going to be the Mickie James Grand Slam champion.
Yeah.
I personally, when I think of women tag titles, I want her to tag up with Natty, because I think that would be such a powerhouse team. With them, with the tag titles, and then her going after the gold, double belts. Oh, that'd be amazing.
Did I tell you guys what I was going to name that team? The Legends of Divas, and then there'll be LOD, and they'll come out to Oh, what a crush.
Okay.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Whoa,
Calm down, champ.
guys.
I just hate puns. You're not gonna win.
Come on, I mean that was it. That was the whole
No.
thing, man.
This isn't fucking Jungle Cruise at Disneyland. No.
This was 100% the point of the show.
Just
All of my notes were leading to that. That was it.
I'm done.
We're
That's
supposed to
sad.
wap up after that. It was supposed to go straight to last call. That was supposed to be the big thing. The crowd was supposed to go out. You know?
That was my pop. That was
Supposed to be it.
Cool.
What sucks because now we got to keep going.
Damn
Oh
it.
wait, we could have stopped.
Yeah.
Clump's like, I'm so tired.
God damn it!
It's not even
End
8
this
p.m.,
shit
but
already.
I just gotta sleep.
Had a migraine for some fucking reason too. Prick.
But I do want Mickie on a title run. Anyways,
Yeah.
what did you guys think? A lot of people were talking about this, and you mentioned it. Braun Strowman showed up to the Raw Underground, and Michael Cole says anyone can show up to the Underground, which I think leaves up a lot of options.
When he says that, it makes me think of whenever they'd show like WWE live in Times Square. It's like, oh, watching live with us, it's Road Dogg. Anyone can show up there.
Yeah, but
Oh.
on the sidelines, on the side of the ring in the Underground, is a lot of
Pineapple Pete.
unsigned indie talent.
Pineapple Pete.
Has he been there?
Pineapple Pete was there this week.
Nice. That's cool.
Right next to Shane McMahon.
That's so good, dude. So, I mean, so that's good for one, just in general. Brandy Lauren was there, who was an unsigned talent. I believe she just signed with NXT. Lindsay Snow. Are you familiar with her, Clump?
Nope.
What?
I'm not.
You're not?
is Lindsay?
I think you'd really like Lindsay Snow. She goes by Kaiju Power. She did she filmed a match for NWA while I was there, and that's what introduced me to her. And when I looked into it, she's like big in the Japan scene right now. But she was ringside. She's not signed by anybody. I can't remember some of the other names off the top of my head, but there's like a handful of unsigned talent who are there. And some of those guys who are just getting jobbed out on there are unsigned talent, which I also think is great because those are paydays for those guys.
Yeah.
As much as we talked about how cool it was that all those indie random dudes were getting TNT title shots and I was shitting on it here and there because that's what I do, we all agreed that at the end of the day, these guys were getting paychecks they wouldn't otherwise be getting. And
Exactly.
these guys are doing that in Raw Underground too, which I think is fantastic. And it opens up at least a foot in the door. At least they know your name right now. Producer, had something she wants to say?
I would really love it if they reached out to some people that could really use a job. I think one that I think of right now is Trevor Murdoch.
Dude, can you imagine Trevor Murdoch in the Raw Underground?
That'd be fucking cool. I was thinking, like, when you said that, I was like, I wonder what he's doing. He's probably unloading trucks.
No,
Actually, he lost his day job, which was a warehouse job.
Really?
Yeah, he tweeted out, so
God
it's
damn
it's
it.
been a bit rough. I mean, especially when we know how good he is, how good he was in NWA. I think that would be really kick-ass.
When I went to NWA Hard Times, the whole filming, that 3-day weekend, I don't, like, it's not tough for me when people ask me what was the greatest match that weekend. The first match I think of is Trevor Murdoch versus Dan Moff. That match was incredible. It was crazy. And I saw a lot of great matches. And then I start going through, I was like, oh, this one was good. And I don't want to undercut this one. And these guys were awesome. But the first thing that comes to mind from that weekend is Trevor Murdoch versus Dan Moff in what I thought was one of the most brutal wrestling matches that didn't involve blood or weapons. It was just two dudes beating the shit out of each other in an old-fashioned wrestling fight. And I was like fucking in it. I remember as I'm watching it just being like, oh my God, like as people are hitting each other. Because I was like, you guys are supposed to be friendly at the end of the day.
Love each other. Yeah.
Who would you throw him in Underground?
Underground? I think you put in like a Trevor Murdoch to stand there looking goofy and kind of dumpy and have Shane McMahon be like, oh my God, is that Trevor Murdoch? We haven't seen him here in almost a decade.
Years. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you have someone like Dolph Ziggler look at him and be like, this guy? And fucking come over to him and just have fucking Trevor Murdoch just whoosh, just lay him out. You know what I mean? Just have him murder Dolph, because we know something about Dolph Ziggler. That dude knows how to get murdered.
Yes.
Yeah, he's invincible.
Yeah. And also, Dolph Ziggler's been looking like $1 million fucking bucks in Raw Underground, even when he's been losing. I think you have him show up in front of Trevor Murdoch being like unimpressed, who's this fucking dweeb, and then have Trevor Murdoch just like a 1-2, boom, knock him out, and then have everyone like, oh, like, I think that'd be fantastic. I'd love to see some Trevor Murdoch in Raw Underground. Go ahead.
I will say this. I was super happy to see Braun in Raw Underground, because I think we need to see more, like, keep bringing in what we'll call center show talent. Have them appear and make this a thing, you know?
I thought it was great.
Yeah.
I thought Braun in there was great. Kevlar, what say you? As Conrad says.
I didn't see it. It was cut by Hulu.
Good. Sweet. Sweet. What do you think about Trevor Murdoch being in Raw Underground?
I would love that. I really want to see, like, when undersung, but I missed the shit out of him. Like, I missed him in NWA. He was a highlight every time he was on, and he was on a lot. He was always good performing, you know? Like, I didn't want to miss him. I was, damn, guy's great.
For sure. What do you think, Kev?
Basically the same thing. Kind of like what you said with the TNT title in AEW, is you could introduce a lot of talent to people that won't get the spotlight otherwise.
Yeah.
And if you throw these people out there and be like, hey,
wait,
look at this.
Hear Kevin?
Yeah, I can hear him.
Oh shit. I can't.
He kind of cut out in the beginning, but he came back.
He cut out, but he's back in. Do you not hear him at all?
Nope.
Kevlar, call Clump a name.
Crybaby Clump.
Did you hear that, Clump?
He put himself on mute because he's eating. He has a bag of chips that he just made the loudest wrinkly noise, and he immediately put it on mute.
Because he's learning. That's development right there.
Well, he's not putting it on when he types, but he puts it on when he reaches the chips bag.
Producer can't shit talk me when I'm doing better.
Yeah. I'm improving. Fuck it.
Challenge accepted.
Do you think you'd like to see Trevor Murdoch in Raw Underground, Kev?
Yeah, I mean, just showing other talent and, seeing what they can do and, spotlighting certain people, I think would be great.
I think it'd be awesome. There's only 2 other things I had left on the list, so if you guys got more things you wanted to make sure you talked about, make sure you let me know. And if you guys are in the chat and had something that you wanted us to talk about and yell about and show you a little bit of pointless aggression about, let us know in the chat. We'll definitely hit it up. Seth versus Dom in a steel cage match. A lot of people were really upset that we had Seth versus Dom again, but I'll tell you what, man, I have not been tired of their matches. Every time I go, are we doing it again? They put on a match that makes me go, God, that was good.
Yeah.
People were upset about that?
Yeah.
That's surprising.
A lot of people don't like seeing Dominic as much because they think that Seth needs to be doing more above him, but no, fucking Seth is showing what he can do with a new talent, and Dominic's really showing what a hungry new talent can be.
Seth is showing that he's not only here to raise the bar of the business, but he's here to build the business.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Seth has his own school, so you go, oh, look, he's thinking about the future. Yeah, but does he practice what he preaches, as you'd say? I mean, the Ultimate Warrior had a school. No one ever came out of there because he wasn't there to actually make the next stars. Seth wants to enrich the business. So when you see the what does he call his store? Black and the Brave?
Yeah, Black and Brave.
I mean, that training school is incredible. And even when they were doing a full-time schedule, Seth was there 3-4 times a week. He was there as much as he could be, and he was doing one-on-ones with these guys. Clips have leaked a little bit of him coaching people, and it's absolutely fantastic. So putting your money where your mouth is, the WWE shows up with a talent and say, hey, we believe in this kid. We think he shows a lot of promise. He's obviously a legacy down with the family. We want you to make sure that he's taken care of and he's elevated. And for fuck's sake, if he hasn't been doing that,
Yeah, it's definitely.
I agree with that. Like, I think. I heard a giggle there. God damn it. Okay. I agree with that. I think, what's frustrating to me is I want to be like not liking Seth Rollins because I kind of was like, I'm done with Seth Rollins because I was getting really tired of his shit.
Yeah.
But he keeps pulling me back in that fuck, and I'm just like, damn it.
So good, man.
I guess you're good. You're really good as a bad guy, and we just need to accept that you're good as a bad guy. You're just dog shit as a face.
I think the saddest thing about all of Seth Rollins' career is that he's one of us, man. If he wasn't a wrestler, he'd be sitting here talking about wrestling probably 4 times a week on podcasts. He'd be on Busted Open. You know what I mean? He'd be Dave LaGreca. That dude loves the business so much, and it's so apparent in everything that he says and does. And for whatever reason, when he was just being his goddamn self and being one of us, that's when we as fans rejected him the most, and we found him the most boring. I mean, I'm not going to pretend that I wasn't part of that.
No, I think we all were.
We didn't like him as a face. We thought it was weird and boring, and it seemed forced in a weird way. And I even said at the time that the sad part was knowing that it's authentic and that that's actually him. You know what I mean? Like, he is that way.
Trying, but fuck off.
Yeah, and it's like, fuck, dude, I want to care, and for whatever reason, it's not clicking. And I don't know. I think that maybe what it is maybe there's a certain level of vulnerability that doesn't get stripped down when he's being himself. That there's a certain level of protection, so he just leans on the tropes, on this is what a good guy says and does. I'm happy to be here. I'm doing it for you. I couldn't do it without you. Yay! But he never broke through into, guys, this is just who I am, and this is what I love, and I just want you guys along for the ride. Like, I don't know that we got that stripped down with him because maybe he was trying to protect himself because he was afraid we were going to do exactly the thing that we as fans did. And we shit all over him. So he couldn't open up. Now that he's this next level evil, he's able to hide again behind this mask of a character of, I'm definitely not a dude who thinks he's Jesus. So he's able to go full in on it, and we're all like, yes! Like, I love everything he's doing, and to me, the heartbreak is the moment he tried to be himself. None of us were having it, and I feel bad for the guy in that regard. But fuck, Seth, I love everything you do. I'm loving it.
As long as you're
doing
shitty.
it.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Kev.
No, I was just saying that I think I think it shows to the credibility of Seth, like you guys were saying, bringing in a new talent, saying, hey, take care of him. And, with Dom and Seth going back and forth, I could see how people aren't excited that it's happening again and again, but it's also introducing Dom as a credible, performer. Mm-hmm. He's going up against Seth, who's, multi-time champion and stuff like that, holding his own, having his family by his side is a cool little side piece. But, it just shows to me that Seth is in it for the long run, thinking about the future, and is clearly willing to put other people over, which we thought, or I thought at least, he was only thinking about himself a lot of the time.
Yeah. But he's at a level now where he knows that, hey, how much bigger can they be? honestly.
Mm.
What could he do that he hasn't done? Well, what he could do is make an absolute fucking star out of a fresh guy.
Yeah.
Mm.
I don't know. I wasn't sick of it. I'm not tired of it. When you think about it, we've seen this match a dozen times. I mean, honestly, we've only seen it like 4 times. But think about like Ricochet versus AJ. Those are without question, 2 of the greatest wrestlers and performers in the business right now in the world.
Mm.
2 of the absolute best. But we don't really think about those matches. We don't really talk about them, and they didn't quite make Ricochet a star. That's not a knock on AJ, and I'm not trying to knock on either one of them. I'm saying they're absolutely amazing, and for whatever reason, didn't quite click. I feel like we're getting more out of these matches with Seth and Dom than we got out of those matches with 2 of the world's greatest.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's something to not lose sight of. It's incredible. There is a new documentary on WWE Network, the day of SummerSlam 2020. It is almost entirely about Dom's match and Sonya's match and both of their sides of things. And I highly recommend it. And if you guys haven't seen it, it's definitely worth taking a peek at. One of the things that Seth does that you can't help but just like feel it in your throat. After the match, he gave to the ref to give to Dom because, I don't know, kayfabe or some shit. I don't know. The wristbands that Seth wore during the match. And so the ref walks over and hands them over to Dom and said, hey, Seth wanted you to have these. Those are the wristbands for the match that you guys just had. It was his first match at a SummerSlam, and he got the wristbands for Seth. I mean, if you're Dom, what? You know what I mean?
That's, yeah.
And also, if you're
Yeah, I don't
Seth,
think-
like, you know what that means to him. You know what I mean?
See, I don't think that's a kayfabe thing. I think that's a welcome to the business.
Yes, that action. I was saying the fact that he gave it to the ref and didn't hand deliver it. That I don't know
Well,
why.
yeah. Yeah.
But
Because you know, you always see players exchange jerseys,
yeah,
and
Yeah.
it's like, hey, I want your jersey. Cool, you know, let's switch them. They sign them, you know, give them a personal message, and you know, a lot of these athletes have those jerseys hanging up in their house. Like, hey, this was this, and you know, like you said, it's got a personal message and stuff like that. So I think that was more of a welcome gift, if you will.
I think 100%
But-
that's what it was.
But to not do
Yeah.
it backstage and have the ref give it to him is a little, whatever.
It was a little weird.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what that part of it was, but the fact of the matter was, it was Seth's bands, and they were given to Dom. And when he gives them to Dom, too, Dom's like, "Really?" And he goes, "Yeah." And he's like, "Wow, that's so cool." And Rey Mysterio's standing right there. Ray goes, "That's so cool, man." And Dom's like, "Yeah, it is cool." Like,
Mm-hmm.
I
can
mean,
see a reason of
imagine.
why you'd have the ref do it rather than do it like backstage. You don't know if
It
you're
was
going to get to that.
backstage.
Well, no, you don't know. You might, you get to see him backstage, but you maybe didn't know if you were going to get to see him right away.
That's true too. You don't
Yeah.
know.
Like, you don't know if you're going to be pulled 20 different ways. You don't know what Ray and Dom are going to do. Like, if they're just going to bail out. You don't know if they're immediately going to have Vince and someone pull him into a meeting. We've heard like, yeah, we just pulled him and talked to him for a bit. You know if you'll run into him that night or thereafter. You don't know if somebody else will grab you, maybe from wardrobe or something.
Yeah,
Not that wristbands
100%.
or anything, but yeah.
It might also be like a hazing almost thing. You know, where it's kind of, hey, appreciate you
Well, I thought the hazing,
here type of thing.
Kevlar, you really cut out, so we didn't get the full sentence. But I did hear hazing, and when I thought hazing, I did think of the last match with the kendo sticks.
The kendo sticks and
That-
and shit.
Yeah, that I felt like was a, initiation hazing
Yeah.
type of thing that, according to the doc we saw on the network, kind of sounded like it was partially Dom's idea as well.
Well, Dom definitely took pride in it, and Ray was taking pride in it. He goes like, "I felt proud for my son because I knew what he was feeling," and he felt like he was becoming one of the boys right then. it's just a really cool thing, and it's a lot of insight into Ray's mind as he's talking about his son getting into the business and what that means to him. And they showed a clip of him in 1998 when they asked him, do you want to at some point, what would it mean to you to hand down the name of Rey Mysterio and your mask to your son? Like, would you want to do that even? And he talked about what that would mean to him and why he wants to do something like that. But it's just something that was really cool. Something you guys should check out if you get the chance. Day of. And I think this one was relatively short. I think it was like 20 minutes, 15 minutes. It wasn't a big, long one. But a lot of really great interactions and talking there.
And the moment after his match, his interaction with Vince was really awesome too.
Yeah, he definitely got a big old kudos from Vince that was really emotional too. That was great. So it was just good stuff. And then to hear Sonya's side of why she was there and why she wanted to go through with that match and all that was tremendous as well. So I definitely think people should check it out. If you don't have the network, get it. It's free for most people. Was there anything else about Seth and Dom? Here's the other thing I was going to say about Seth and Dom, actually. I don't know why Buddy Murphy could not have cost Seth the match, given Dominic the credible win, albeit by cheating or interference, but you get Dom a win over Seth could mean so much more than Seth getting a win over Dom, and you still have the turn. You still have Buddy Murphy cost Seth the match, and Seth still can turn on Buddy. And I could go either way. Buddy can attack Seth. Seth can attack Buddy. But I think that Dom could have got the win in that debacle, and it would have meant more than Seth getting that win, because now I feel like there's still unfinished business. And the one thing I do want with the storyline is I do want there to be a level of closure. I want Dom to get to the point where he can say, I beat him, you know?
I agree with
that. But
I
don't know how many matches I want till I get there, to be honest.
I agree with that.
Kev?
Well, yeah, when you're speaking about the amount of matches, it doesn't make sense that they keep having matches when Seth's just winning every time.
It makes sense if Dom eventually wins, because then it's all like, oh, he keeps having more matches because he's trying to get one over. But at a certain point, you go, all right, just stop for a while.
Yeah, well, what I'm saying is, like, why would Seth, agree to the match when he's dominated him?
Yeah.
He wins every single time, so why would Seth keep going, okay, yeah, let's go into a steel cage now. Let's have, let's do this, let's do that. It's like, he keeps winning, so what does it matter?
Yeah, 100%. The only other thing I had left on here, so if there's something else you guys want to talk about, make sure you throw it out, put it in the chat, or you guys just speak the fuck up. Retribution. They had a promo. They were talking about coming from the Performance Center and believing that they deserved more. What do you guys think about their mission statement and then the whole breakdown with Hurt Business, Keith Lee, and Drew McIntyre? Kevlar, let's start with you.
I thought it was interesting, that they had Hurt Business coming in as security, and almost like, Nexus back in the day where the main roster, got together and fought this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Plump, what'd you think about this? Or actually, Kev, what'd you think about their promo? Did it get cut out of Hulu, or did you get it?
No, I saw it. It was okay. I definitely thought that, what's his name, Dijakovic was in it.
Yeah. I think Mojo's in it.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Especially at the end when they're talking, when like Hurt Business walking down, you just hear, "Come on, baby, come on!"
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
And you're all like, "That sound." The only thing that could have been different if you said, "Let's get hype." You know what I mean?
Yeah. You want to get hype, bro?
Yeah. You ain't even hype. Come on, baby. Let's do it, bro.
Was that guy in the Cardinals jersey? Oh shit, that's Mojo.
Yeah. Gronk for Hall of Fame. What was that? Nothing.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Nothing. Gronk's playing, baby.
Yeah. So you thought
He isn't
Dijakovic?
singing.
I think I see Mia Yim's eyes. I thought I saw Martinez. I thought I saw her eyes as well.
Yeah.
And I definitely saw Dio Madden's hair.
Yeah. I feel like I'm more excited for it than I've been because I feel like the way that they weirdly paused on him, I was like, I'm done with this shit. I don't care anymore. So
Yeah.
I'm hyped, mainly
Yeah.
because Mojo. But
100%. The fact that they've
yeah.
started saying that they're pissed, that they're here, the fact that it's becoming a Raw thing, the fact that the Hurt Business is starting to get involved with them, the Hurt Business has had enough, and the Hurt Business is legitimate, right? They've been in the Raw Underground beating the shit out of everybody. They've been coming out running roughshod. The idea of these four dudes coming out Evolution style in their suits and being like, we will fuck up every one of you. I'm like, yes. Do it. I love the idea of the Hurt Business being portrayed as maybe the toughest faction that's ever been. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Let's see. I mean, I really like the breakdown. I like that they did the Keith Lee and Drew McIntyre flip to end it because I thought that it showed a little bit of pizzazz with Keith Lee, which I think is important to do early on. People are starting to... They got to know what makes Keith Lee special, and one of the things that makes him special is that he can do those kinds of flips no problem.
He's a monster, yeah.
Yeah, and he's incredible. But I am excited to see where Retribution goes at this point. We talked about it like 2-3 weeks ago, and we got into a heated argument about, well, let's not talk about Retribution, and how much I didn't want to talk about Retribution because fuck them, they're not doing anything. Now, I'm on the other side of they're saying stuff and they're doing stuff, and now we're getting somewhere. Even if they haven't been unmasked, we're getting to the point where we clearly can identify people. And I think that's important too. What was that, Clem?
You're easy to please, but I'm happy to see it.
You've always said that.
Yeah. Well, I mean...
Wait, you're happy to see Retribution or Marsh, please?
One of those?
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. We'll have to roll the dice.
But no, I'm
were you
okay.
guys also excited to hear Retribution cut that promo?
I was surprised with it. I was glad to see it. I mean, like, I was surprised in the sense of where you're like, oh, about fucking time. Like,
Yeah.
thank you. Do it.
It cleared a lot of things up. Like,
Yeah.
their motive and stuff like that. Not,
Out-
it started showing their motives.
Out of the few people that we seem to be pretty sure of, Martinez, Mia Yim, Mojo, Dijakovic, and Dio Madden. Those alone, not to mention the other Rugrats running around, those alone, that excites me as a faction in general. Of those people being pissed off and pushed to their limit.
Yeah. And I think it makes sense. Is like, we're people who never get on TV. And you run over us. You run over where we're at and just take over. And we still don't get on TV.
Yeah.
You know?
And you could even see it play out. Where, like, I could see a guy like Mojo rallying everyone up and being like, no, I've had it. No, you don't understand. No, I've been there. As they're coming up from the PC and telling these guys, don't even get comfortable, man. Don't even think this. And then Dijakovic being the voice of leadership and Mojo recognizing that and being like, yeah, listen to this guy. Like, I could even see it playing out that way from like a kayfabe standpoint of how do those guys all to get together is you have these kids coming up all excited and you have Mojo telling them don't fucking bother, and then you have Dijakovic giving them a vision and Mojo saying, yeah, guys, listen to him, and being a part of the whole thing. I think it all works.
One person, we need to unionize. No, not that way. Not that way.
No.
Don't say that. Didn't work out.
No. That was the only stuff I really had written down about either of the shows. Was there anything about on either show that you guys wanted to make sure you touched on?
My big thing, like I said, was the Keith Lee and Drew McIntyre bit.
Yeah.
That was my big thing. I think, what do you guys think about Eric being separate because of Ivar's injury? How do you think?
Yeah, him as a single star was kind of weird, out of place, and they had him dominated pretty quickly, which was weird because they made him look so strong in Raw Underground. So I wasn't a big fan of it. I do think that him kind of on his own could be good, but I don't know if that's I don't know if that's even a short-term plan for them. I think maybe you keep him in Raw Underground like you been Dolph Ziggler.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a smarter idea, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, him and Bobby it was rough. So him and Raw Underground, have him beat the shit out of Babatunde.
Yeah. I'm excited for Braun and Babatunde.
Yeah,
I think that's smart.
I agree.
yeah.
And I think that cannot end in a definitive victory. That has to end in a crazy, weird schmoz. I hope the ring breaks.
Yeah. More weight there than like if the ring doesn't break when they do something, then I'm immediately questioning how it broke for Bray and.
Yeah, who's
Br-
building
Br-
these rings?
That's a lot. That's less weight. You'd think you'd learn after people broke rings that were heavier.
Yeah.
Like, I get when it's Big Show and Brock. I get that. I get when it's Brock or Big Show and friggin' Mark Henry. I get that. I get when it's Big Show and Strowman. But come on. Fiend's like 300 pounds.
Yeah. Come on. Anything else that you want to make sure you touched on, Kevlar?
Teach.
The hell is happening? Kevlar, are you still there?
Yeah, my headphones dead.
Oh. Was there anything else you want to make sure you touched on, Kev?
No. I think we're good.
No, that was good. Clump, was there anything else you touched ground on?
I'm good.
Producer, was there anything we missed? Nia beat up Lana, and that was exciting.
Yeah,
That was
Liv.
the closest thing to a Nia face turn I've ever seen.
We saw more Liv and we saw Riot.
That's a hard
Squad.
one to consider for you.
Yeah. I'm excited about the idea of the Riot Squad being together and moving forward to the Tag Team Championships. But other than what I saw I liked this week, there wasn't a whole lot to dig into, I don't think.
Yeah. It was a lot of starting.
What about that Kit Kat commercials? What'd you guys think of that?
I didn't see it.
Was it cut out of Hulu?
It was weird.
God, it was the weirdest thing. So last week they had R-Truth with Invisible Jimmy, and I've never been a fan of that Jimmy character. I don't like it. I think that's pushing R-Truth too far, to be honest. He was cutting a promo and talking weird to a Kit Kat bar. Liv Morgan shows up. She says something like, "You just need a little assistance," and like pokes it and breaks it, grabs the Kit Kat pack and walks away. And I was like so confused. I was like, what the fuck is happening? And then it turned out it was a Kit Kat commercial. And I went, oh, okay. I'm okay with that. I thought this was an honest promo. Like,
Really? I definitely thought it sounded like a commercial. It just not the best one.
yeah.
And I'm a sucker for like really great, hilarious commercials, and this was not it for me.
I thought it was decent. I really like Liv's going to get that Kit Kat money. But I did think because of how goofy they've made R-Truth, it was almost the entire commercial before I realized it was a commercial, not a promo. I felt bad about it. That's where I was. I think that's it for us, guys. Anything else?
Nope.
Guys, check us out. Follow us on the socials below on the screen. Hit us up at WrestlingOnTheRocks.com. You can find all of our socials in the About section. You can find our shop. You can find our Twitch. If you're not sure how to subscribe to our Twitch for free to you, it's right in there and how do you join. Guys, I think that's last call. We're going to be back Thursday night for your Wednesday night chaser. Clump, are you going to be able to join us?
We will see. I will try my best.
Oh, good Lord.
We'll see.
So we'll see what happens there. Guys, we're back to the two shows so that we can cover it all. I think that's it for us. That's last call, guys. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.